caramel snap.
Sam, what's up, brother? You doing all right? Zam, how are you?
All right, I guess.
Turn you up here. I think I've talked to you before, haven't I?
Yeah.
You got anything today?
I was trying to think about what we were talking about the last time. What was it that we were talking about?
Most of my topics usually pertain to evolution and flood and or pre-tribulation end times.
Yeah, I know that. But there's something you always claim, and I looked it up, and the only thing I could find on it was from creationist websites, and I couldn't find any legitimate science anywhere to back it up.
Polystratofossils?
Well,
they usually
plate
claim that that's
tectonics,
just
yeah.
They usually just claim that that's an evolution or a creation thing. The
What
dinosaurs.
is?
That I'm just going through some stuff that I know that people are claiming usually from just creationists, polystratofossils, the soft tissue and dinosaur bones. I don't remember exactly what we talked about to be able to help you remember.
Yeah. Well, I follow plate tectonics theory. They can actually prove that.
They can prove plate tectonic theory?
Yeah.
How can they prove it?
I mean, it's just all the evidence, but they've done where is it? They use sound to go into the ground, and they can see the Pacific plate going under North America.
Well, we wouldn't say that that's not true either. We would agree that that's true. That would
Like tectonic.
Yeah, we would say that the flood model, when the fountains of the deep broke open, that you got plates sitting on top of each other. That wouldn't be disproof of the flood model.
Well, depends on your creationist theory. Some say how the world is now happened under the flood, all the mountains and how it ended up now. It's happened during the flood, which is impossible.
Yeah, in the book of Psalms it says the mountains arose and the valley sank down at the end of the flood. So
yeah, that could never happen.
I don't know what do you mean it can never happen? It did happen. Even if you believe in Yeah, you did. Yeah, it did. Even if you believe in evolution, you believe that the mountains rose up.
Over hundreds of millions of years.
Okay,
not
but
like 90 days or a year.
I get it. I get it. But we believe in two different time scales. But to say that it couldn't happen when you believe that it did happen is still, it's not an accurate statement.
What's your timeline? 1 year?
That's how long the flood was on the earth. Yeah.
Yeah. So you think the plates moved through all of their geolocations in 1 year time?
I don't think they really had to move. It was just the fountains of the deep broke open. So that's where we see the cracks.
You don't believe? Okay, so you don't believe like the Andes are related to the African Andes, or that the Atlas Mountains are related to the Iberian Mountains, or that
you think
the lands are formed through compression forces?
You think,
or Appalachian Mountains?
You think? Hold on, wait a second. Wait a second.
The Appalachians are related to the African Mountains.
You think they're related? What does that mean?
They were both formed in the same event, and they're made up of the same soil.
Sure, I think that they formed in the same event. Yeah.
Okay, so those events, right? Those events required those events, like for example, if we use the Appalachian and the Atlas Mountains, those events required compression. So those were from the North American plate and the African plate colliding. Okay. We can now see that there's something in between them called the Atlantic Ocean. So do you think it moved that distance in 1 year?
Man, hold on, brother. You got a lot of background noise. Okay, I'll mute you up there real quick. I don't know if it moved or not. The Bible doesn't say if it moved or not. So I know in one.
I mean, it does say earthquakes, but
yeah, but I mean, I to be honest with you, to answer your question honestly, I don't know. I don't think that they would have to move, but I don't know.
Okay, I mean that's honest. Yeah. There's like we've talked before.
Betty, listen, I've muted you up twice now. You got to fix your background noise. If you can, I'm going to have to kick you. Okay, you got too much background noise.
So we've talked before creation, and we talked about evolution.
Okay.
And I don't know if you want to go back over that discussion, but from what I remember, you misunderstood what evolution was.
Oh, how did I misunderstand it?
So you didn't really understand genetic, and please correct me if I'm wrong.
Let me kick this person real quick. Sorry, go ahead.
You didn't really understand genetic mutation and how that occurs over genera, and how traits are carried down through not only general selection pressures, but also natural selection, which was something that existed and still exists and has occurred, and we can observe it.
All right, well, help me understand it.
Yeah, so in itself, evolution is just the change in allele frequency. That's what I define evolution as, and that's what textbooks define it as. And when we observe genetic mutation, that's evolution. Would you agree?
No, see, that's the problem that we're going to have. Is I'm not going to agree with your definition just because you're going to get the win just on the definition, and that's not how it goes. So
well, that's where I think you misunderstand what evolution is.
No disrespect, I think that's where you misunderstand, because you're trying to get a definitional win and not an actual argument win.
Okay, so what is evolution?
So it depends on which kind we're talking about. Are we talking about?
There's no kinds of evolution.
Yeah, there is. So you believe there's cosmic evolution, where either.
No, we're referring to genetic.
I got you, brother. Hold on. Yeah, but I know. But then don't say that there's no kinds when there clearly are. So
those words, the evolution word would just refer to going through generations.
You still got cosmic evolution. You got chemical evolution. You got stellar evolution. Yeah, you got different kinds of evolution, my dude. So if you just want to stick on life, then you still have macro and micro. And I know that's the definition.
Okay, what up, bro?
I know that. Hold on, guys. I know you want to believe that, brother. I know you do, but I'm not going to agree to that definition because I believe in micro. I can test and observe micro. We have never tested and observed macro. So therefore you want to say that it's just the same thing, but there's not. So therefore we
observe macro.
Okay.
Define macro.
Sure. Give me an example of tested and observed macro.
Speciation.
Like what?
We've observed 7 different species come from the Galapagos Island in the last 50 years.
Like
We've
what?
Observed 114 species.
Just give me an example, brother.
Birds.
Like what? What happened? A bird turned into what?
Bird. it's still a bird, but the thing is that they're a different. Yeah,
That's
this
not-
is where I feel like you misunderstand what evolution is.
Now,
Because
this
you
is
think-
where
you
I
think
feel
about,
like
look,
you misunderstand
like-
because you're saying it turned into a different species. Just because you name it something different doesn't mean that it's different. It's still a bird.
So so that's the problem. Bird
Yeah.
is a massive group. Just like if I said mammal, right? You carry these things through genetic lineage, right? We have something called the law of monophyly, which means if you're ever a part of one group, right? If you're a part of one clade, you will remain a part of that clade forever. Okay?
Evolution-
So there's no way you can evolve outside of being something like that. That's where I feel like you misunderstand evolution.
Wait, you say that it can't happen, but that's
Yeah, it cannot happen.
okay.
It
Well,
does
let's
not happen.
all right. Let's see who's misunderstanding evolution. Okay, did reptiles eventually go into birds?
Yes, birds are still reptiles.
All right, so
They're
it sounds
avians.
like you misunderstanding, not me.
No,
Yeah, we.
they're
Oh,
avians.
oh,
It's a smaller
we
group.
can just.
They're avians.
That's what I'm
It's a
talking
smaller
about. We can
reptile.
just change
Avian
definitions.
is a-
Birds are still
avian's a
reptiles.
family.
Rocks are
Avian's a family.
trees.
Reptile
Ground
is
is
a
the
phylum.
sky. You see what I'm talking about? You
Avian's
can
a
just.
family, reptiles a
I
phylum.
know, I got you, but listen, I'm not gonna hold on, guys. I'm not gonna do the definition thing. I'm not.
No, you misunderstand.
I know. Listen, hold on. Let me make sure I got this clear.
This is what he does. He tries to overtalk.
I know. I'm the one that's over talking. That's right. So we're not going to do a definition. I'm not chasing definitions, guys. So either you can bring me the evidence that we can go over, but I'm not going to sit up here. Birds are reptiles. Oh, therefore I get a win. See, we just classified them as the same, so therefore that means they come from. No, I need to see the evidence that
So
reptiles went
birds
into
are-
birds.
Birds in themselves are avians. Is what we call them. Okay. Birds is a family of organisms.
Brother,
okay?
do you have
Above that-
anything
above that, there's
other?
something called a phylum.
I got
okay?
you.
And reptiles is a
I get
phylum.
it. Carius Linnaeus did a great job. The animals don't care. Do you have an example?
Linnaeus?
All right.
Linnaeus, you mean?
Thank you, brother. Have a good one.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, good
appreciate you. Yeah. Guys, if you want to have a conversation with me, we got to go past definitions. I'm not going to agree with you. So if you just want to try to get a definitional win, it's not going to work. Okay. You can't just say, oh, we classify reptiles as birds, so therefore it must be true. It clearly happened because you see right here, we put it in the textbooks. Reptiles are birds. Therefore, we're right. You're wrong. I need more than your definition. Okay. I have got to have more than your definition. Okay.
So how do we put millions and millions of species on a little wooden boat?
Well, that's your problem. You think it's millions and millions of species right there. Have you done the study on it? When my buddy down there in the comments says I need to study, have you studied on what the actual original kind was? The science field is called baryometry. I could be messing that name up, but it's something along those lines. Do you know what?
Define a kind. Define what you say is kind.
Right, but before I get chasing it, I want to see if you understand it because you said millions, and do you know how many actually it was?
There's like there's 100 million species
That's
on the
great.
boat.
Do you know? Just so you haven't studied. Okay, so that's fine. That's okay. Not everybody doesn't look into everything. So you think it was millions? It was actually about 6,000 different or base kinds. Now you're going to ask me to define kind, just like species. It's going to get tricky in some cases, right? So not every species can be clearly defined, just like every kind can't be clearly defined. So, for example, there's the original rabbit kind, and from the rabbit kind come all of these same variations of a rabbit. Cattle kind comes all of the different. I would probably imagine that cattle, buffalo, your regular cow that you see out here in the field are probably the same. The longhorns in Texas are probably had an original ancestor of a cattle kind of animal. So just like cats, you know that.
Give me an example.
Sure.
Define kind. Define what you mean by kind.
Brother, I have literally just told you that I'm not getting stuck on definitions. You were in here the whole time when I said that. I'm not going to get stuck on definitions. Definitions need to be clear so we can have a conversation. But if we can't move past that, we're going to disagree on it. Okay?
Yeah. I just want to say one thing. So you can't define kind.
Just like you can't define species. We got the same problem. I can't say your name there, brother. It looks like it's written in Hebrew, possibly.
Oh, hello.
What's up, man? What's your name? What can I call you?
Saturn.
Saturn. Okay. What's up, brother? You doing all right?
Doing fine. Well, I agree with you. I think evolution is false. And I mean, your genes change, but I don't think that we came from abiogenesis. I think we were created.
I just discovered some shit, bro.
Hold on, homie. Let my man speak right here and I'll get to you.
So, yeah, no, I agree with you. I think there's a lot of fossils that I think actually really destroy the fossil line. And so I agree. That's all.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I wish I could actually have a conversation with someone so we can move past definitions so that they can stop trying to get a definitional win so we can actually have a conversation. But yeah, man, I appreciate you coming up. Thank you for the stickers, guys. Appreciate it. Homie, what's up? I think you were in here next.
I've been asking for like a next step and an idea I had, and I actually have like a method and repeatable practice in how you can increase your IQ. I literally discovered it like 5 minutes ago.
How you can practice something at home and increase your IQ?
Yeah, bro. Literally, look.
What is
No.
that? Hey, man, what is
Your
that?
IQ's higher than it was 5 minutes ago.
What-
Honestly, it is.
That's fair.
because
Hey, can I? What we got on top?
Now I try to speak only factual statements.
I got you, brother.
Try not lying.
I appreciate
For
you
like
coming,
5
homie.
minutes in a row.
Homie, I appreciate you coming up, man. Do you got something on the topic?
Yeah,
What do you got?
God is real.
Amen. And to the individual in the comments saying that you have to have definitions in an effort to have a conversation, I would agree. And then you can give me your definition. I'll give you my clear definition, because clearly we're not going to agree. So we need to be able to move past that. If we can't move past that, then there's no conversation to be had. I'm not going to agree that like the young man said before, that reptiles are just classifications of birds. I'm not going to agree with that clearly. So if you want to keep that definition, I'm not going to accept it. And if you don't accept that I don't accept it, then clearly we're not going to have a conversation. So I understand that we need to be able to define things, but if we have a disagreement on a definition, we have to be able to move forward. So, Ryan, what's up, man? You doing all right?
Yeah, how you doing today?
Man, doing great, doing great. What you got?
So mind you, I'm just coming up onto the board. So I know evolution is false. I'm actually a believer of evolution. So, and you said you wanted to have a conversation, and not necessarily, an argument per se, but
Yeah, I like conversations. Sure. So let me define my term very quickly. I believe in microevolution, right? I believe that there's an adaptation within the animals or species or whatever you want to call it. Within life itself, I believe that there's adaptations, clearly. But we don't see anything outside of microevolution. So if I was going to say macroevolution was true, then I would have to see genetic information gain. I think you and I would both agree that if we went from a single-celled organism over how many generations to a fully functional human, you would agree that there had to be genetic information gain. Genetic, because you got to be able to pass it on to your children. Information as far as new code, new structures, new function, new DNA, and it had to be gained from something that it wasn't there obviously before. So at its base, at its minimal, I'm pretty sure that has to be the definition of macroevolution for it to be true. So do you have an example outside of microevolution or degradation?
So as an example, are you familiar with the vagus nerve?
Vagus nerve. Man, that sounds familiar. What does it do?
So I'm going to use the example. We'll start off with a fish. The vagus nerve in a fish, the way that the structure of a fish is, the heart is very close to the brain. The vagus nerve goes behind the heart, goes through a ventricle, touches the ventricle, and comes out and goes into another piece of the body. In a fish, that is a straight line. Vagus nerve, yeah, I'm sorry. Not vega, I'm thinking something else.
Okay, I got
Vagus
you.
nerve. So in the human body, well, let's take it back a step from there. So once we see evolution exist, we see the same structure still. It goes from the brain around the heart and then through back to the brain.
So so this is something that's not tested and observed, right? This is something that's inferred because we have similar structures, so therefore we have a common ancestor. Is that where you're going?
In short, yes.
Right. So yeah, that's why I asked for it. It's something that's inferred. You're inferring that happened, and then obviously my inference from that would be common designer, not common ancestor. I would say that these are the way that God's made us, right? And He uses a lot of like DNAs of it's a building block for life. Tells your body how to build structures. So I would expect it to be similar in in things that have similarities. Like all life shares DNA, all plant shares RNA, basically. So
So here's the interesting.
I would expect that.
Interesting though. So in humans, the way that we are designed, the vagus nerve from the brain around the heart to the mouth is a very indirect path.
Okay, still works, right?
Right, but that kind of points to either unintelligent design of it happening either by happenstance or that we shared commonalities with an ancestor.
Well, what's funny, and not, please don't take this the wrong way. I don't mean it for you, but people that look at a design that works just fine and then claim that that they could do it better than God could do it, and therefore it's a poor design. Like, our throats, we get, we have the same hole that we breathe out of that we chew food, so people die when they choke. But yeah, that's an argument you're free to have. But I mean, I think it works just fine. So I definitely wouldn't say it was a poor design.
Not necessarily a poor design, but if you were designing it uniquely to that structure, you wouldn't go around the heart. There's a lot of material that you're wasting at that point.
I got you, but it's still just a lot of inference, and it's just inference to this point. So one of the things that I like to use, brother, is bacteria, because bacteria can have up to 9 generations in a single day, and it kind of takes away the millions of years of evolution. So why is it that whenever we do these evolutionary experiments on bacteria, why is it that we always see degradation? We never see information gained.
So we do see changes in bacteria over generations.
Yeah, we do see changes. That's not my contention. I believe in microevolution, but a lot of the things that we see, like especially through like the Linsky experiment and the things that we see in the bacteria, is degraded. We see information lost. We don't see information gained.
Right, but that's an issue of scale. So when we talk about macroevolution, we're talking about millions of years of these changes happening.
But again, it's just generation.
Evolution, nine evolutions in a day. That is a day. Those are two wildly different time frames.
But they're not. You're thinking it in time frames. You need to think of it in generations, because it wouldn't matter in time frames. It would matter in generations. Generation count is where you get the time, and the only reason you get millions and millions of years is because monkeys take 9 months to develop offspring like humans, the apes, right? So if we have, why did we have all of these evolutionary leaps from ape to man in 80, 90,000 generations, but in the same count on a smaller organism that we should be able to see these huge leaps? If it happened, we should be able to notice it very quickly. Why do we only see degraded information on the same generation count?
So going back to the scale, when we talk about millions of years, that is not just like 1,000 generations. That is 100,000 generations.
No, it's not.
For primates.
No, you need to look that up, brother. It's not. A million years is something like 80,000, or about 80,000 generations or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see. Well, I don't want to speak outside of ignorant either. Let me see. I think it's something like 80. How many? Let's see. How? Let's see. It's actually 80,000 generation is 1.6 million to 2.4 million years.
Assuming what is a general generational life?
This is a human. So let's see. Let me make sure that I did it right, because I asked how many years is in 80,000 generations in humans. So yeah, 80 times 20 years, 80,000 times 25 years, 80,000 times 30 years. So it just depends on how many children they can have in there. But yeah, it's over 1 million years, brother.
That is still a huge number of generations. So in bacteria, that would take what, 20, 30 years at 5 a day?
9 a day. Yeah, we've been doing this. It's called the Linsky experiment. I think they're past 80,000 generations now, which would translate to over 1 million years in human evolution. So why is it that we went from these apes to humans in this same generation count, but in bacteria we get degraded information? It's almost like long ago and far away it happened, but what we test and observe never has the same results.
Right, because, well, one, I'm not familiar with the experience you're speaking of, so I can't speak too much of it, but I would imagine that the environment that it plays in isn't conducive to the things that we want to see.
Well, we see it everywhere. Like, for example, are you familiar with bacteria becoming resistant to antibiotics?
Yeah.
Right. So they would do this through degradation, though. That's the problem. The antibiotics didn't, or the bacteria did not evolve. They're quote unquote devolving. In other words, let me do a thought experiment real quickly with you. Help you kind of understand it. Like the receptors on the bacteria is what has devolved. That's the reason the antibiotics can't attach to it. So a thought experiment that might help it out is think of the bacteria like having arms, right? They're little bacteria and they have arms. The antibiotics are handcuffs, and the antibiotics comes in, they handcuff them, take them off to jail and unalive them. But every 1 in 2 million generations or something like that, there's one born. Just like in a human population, you got individuals that are born with deficiencies. Just like bacteria, you might have a bacteria that's born without any arms.
Deficiencies, to be clear, but
right, I got you. So the bacteria can't live, or excuse me, I said it backwards. The bacteria can live, but they're just inferior. They don't have any arms. But the antibiotic can attach to them. So that's the reason that they're resistant. It's not because they evolved a new mechanism to fight the antibiotic. It's because the antibiotic can't attach to them anymore through degradation. So it's not just in the experiments that we see. We don't see any information
gain. That's the mechanism of evolution, though. That is the exact thing. So that bacteria is the fittest species that survived.
And that's where. I'm sorry. I thought you were done. No, I thought you were done. I apologize. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, okay. That's where and I apologize. It's got like a little bit of a pause. I thought you were done, so I didn't mean to interrupt you. So that's where we get stuck on our definitions, right? Because now you have an unfalsifiable viewpoint. If I had that, you would say, hey, that's a religious viewpoint, which ultimately I do have, regardless. I understand that, and I admit that. But now you have an unfalsifiable viewpoint. No matter what you see in the bacteria, you have no standard to disprove evolution. Everything you see is evolution. If it stays the same, it's evolution. If it gets better, clearly, or if it has information gain, clearly that's evolution. But also, if it loses information, that's evolution. But if we're being reasonable and we're being thoughtful, you cannot use loss of information as evolution. You couldn't. We could not go from a single-celled organism to a fully functional human by losing all of our information, right?
So evolution, and maybe this is, again, going back to the definition portion of it, evolution is merely the statement that things the things that survive, that do better in the environment are more likely to survive. And that expanded over a very long period of time will show vast differences because environments are different for different creatures.
But that's just not what we see in the same amount. And again, you keep going to time like it's a pacifier. And that's why I like to use bacteria, because it's not about time. Time's not a secret. It doesn't have this magic part of it. It's about passing your genetic information on. And if you have a mutation, then you pass that mutation on to your children. So it's not about time, it's about generations. Now, usually because, what you would imagine you see it in for the most part has a long generation count. So that equals time, but it's not about time, it's about generations count. So again, why is it in the same generation count do we get degradation? We don't get information gain.
So we are seeing a different species of bacteria. I would say not necessarily it's gained or lost. I think that's faulty language being used to describe a function of evolution. the fitter species is surviving in a harsher environment due to the antibacterials.
I get it, brother. And that's where I'm at. And I don't want to, beat a dead horse. I appreciate you having a conversation with me, but you couldn't possibly use degradation or loss of information as evolution. You just couldn't, man. The math ain't mathing. You can't keep showing me subtraction and then say eventually somewhere far away and long ago, there was addition. We went from a single-celled organism to a fully functional human. Then there has to be an example of some addition there. And you can't just keep showing me examples of information loss or degradation and then claiming that's evolution. It just, the math don't math, man.
So it depends on how you define what you're saying, subtraction of data.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're using that to describe they are losing function, but in fact they're gaining capability.
So wait, so if they lose their arms so they can't be handcuffed, they're gaining something?
They're gaining the resistance to the antibacterial.
That's not how evolution is supposed to work, though. The word you just said, they're gaining a resistance. That would be fine. They didn't gain a resistance. It's just that the bacteria or the antibiotic can't attach to them anymore. You can't just redefine that.
When they reproduce, now that new species.
All right.
I'm using that term really roughly here.
I got you.
But that new population now carries that same genetic trait of now being resistant to bacteria. They have gained something.
No, they don't carry a new trait at all. They lost a trait, brother. They didn't carry anything. If they lost their arms, so therefore they can't be handcuffed, they didn't gain any traits.
The same thing, but in reverse.
No.
You're saying they lost the ability to connect to
they did
the antibacterial that would destroy them.
Yeah.
And I'm saying they gained the resistance to it. We're saying the same thing.
No, but you're
with
being
with a different lens.
I got you, but and I'm not accusing you. So again, don't take this the wrong way. Appreciate the stickers, guys.
Yeah.
You're being manipulative in your language. They're literally, in my scenario, right? They lost their arms, and you're like, well, they gained the ability not to be handcuffed, so therefore they're better. No, you're saying they gained something when they didn't. It's just a side effect that the handcuffs can't attach to them anymore. They still lost their arms. They're not gaining any information, brother. And again, Ryan, I don't want to keep going in circles. You can't say that we lost all of our information going from a single-celled organism to a fully functional human, and that's how we got here. It just, I think you would agree that's illogical. You're going to have to start showing me information gained. There was no information in losing your arms. You literally lost information, definitionally. But listen, man, I appreciate the conversation, man. I'll give you the last word, brother.
No, well, I think we're just going to have to agree to disagree at some point, and I don't want to go too harsh into the rhetoric of it. I don't think that's inductive, and I don't think that's fair for anybody.
Right.
So
yeah, you're not going to hurt my feelings, man. I'm just, I think we would agree that you're going to have to see information gain, and we can't keep showing examples of degradation or loss and then claiming that long ago and far away there was some gain.
To that point, what I would say is that I made the comments that proved that already, and we're just going to rehash the same points, and it isn't going to go anywhere in the conversation. So
yeah, man,
I'm just going to cut it at that point. But no, pleasant conversation. And I think ultimately that is what we need to do as a people. Better is to have more gentle conversation, not so adversarial.
Yeah,
we need to be able to communicate with each other on things we disagree with, because we're going to disagree on a lot of things as a people, and I think people have kind of lost that ability.
Yeah. I appreciate it, man. Derek, what's up, man? You doing all right?
Hey, yeah, man. How's it going?
Doing good, brother. Doing good.
Yeah, my thing is over that many years we're supposed to evolve or whatever, but it seems to me like everything evolves to its environment. So, animals in the cold get cold. Get attributes to combat that. We don't, as far as our skin and hair, things like that. So
they don't.
Our brains have gotten smarter.
I would say it like this, Derek. They don't get attributes to fight it. The attributes that already existed are encouraged. Like longer hair or thicker hair. The attribute for hair already existed. That's just encouraged in different animals.
but it didn't exist for, like, the Sherpas on Mount Everest. They don't have hair all over their bodies. They couldn't survive without their brains to make their clothing.
Yeah, I mean the animals. Yeah,
And animals do,
yeah,
in a sense.
Yeah.
They adapt to their environment, far as their physicalities and to survive within the harsh environments. Humans don't have that.
Listen, SES 1509, you said I don't understand how antibiotics affect bacteria. Then please come up and tell me how I'm wrong. I'm not gonna yell or scream at you, but you're doing a lot of talking there in the comments about how uneducated I am. So my panel's open. I got 3 additional spots. Come up and tell me how I'm wrong. I'm sorry, Derek. Go ahead.
And it's kind of like, alligators, for example, they're how many millions of years old?
Mm.
How far have they evolved? Not very far as compared to us humans, right?
Yeah.
I just think that there's a difference between a physical evolution and a mental evolution, I guess. I don't know.
Right. All right. 3 Ricks, what's up?
Thanks, man.
Yeah, man, appreciate you. Thank you for coming. 3 Ricks, what's up?
Hey man, I've actually just been kind of tuned in, listening to everybody's opinions, arguments. Unfortunately, I've missed probably quite a large portion of this, but
I hadn't been live that long.
okay. I think I just kind of is there actually people arguing over whether or not the flood was real?
Not yet. I usually get that, but I haven't had it yet. So do you believe it was real or wasn't real, or?
I'm so sorry. Bear with me 1 second. For some reason, my microphone keeps muting. Just 1 second.
I got you. Talking about Noah's flood, guys. Huh? And the 90% DNA that we share with chimps, if I'm not mistaken, that was debunked a while back. It's something like 80 something, not 90. But
okay. Okay, that actually makes so much more sense because I came into the conversation when we were talking about that. I wasn't sure how that was connecting to whether the flood was real. So that makes sense.
Yeah, I hadn't had the flood topic yet, but you're free.
Absolutely. 1,000%, I believe that the flood was real. I think there's so much evidence to that that it's almost, and this is just me, and I don't mean if anybody.
Oh, your mic's breaking out real bad.
Everything you can see right in front of you, how can you deny how? It's right there. There's so much to back it up. And I'm not sure where there could possibly be any dispute to it, I guess, or why one would that occur.
Yeah, I forget the individual's name who assisted. He wasn't the sole arbiter of the geologic column, but I have it on a study. You can go back through my videos and look at it. He's quoted as actually saying that he wanted to free the geology from Moses. So meaning that when individuals, when they used to look at the geologic column, obviously they saw that as evidence of Noah's flood. It's called hydrologic sorting, right? We see this in a flood, and it's literally all over the planet. So he said he wanted to free the geology from Moses. So he come up. No, it's not false, guys. I mean, you're free to be real brave in the comments and tell me how wrong I am, but I promise you I'm not. He's the one that again, it wasn't him by himself, so I don't want to say it's this one guy, but he is known as the father of geology, if I'm not mistaken, and he is a good part of the reason as to why we have these millions and millions of years in the geologic column, because what they do is called index fossils, right? So there was no dating technique before this, so they didn't have a quote-unquote dating technique to date the layers in the geologic column. So then what they did is they assigned dates to it, and they don't know the difference between Cretaceous limestone or Jurassic limestone. So what they do is look for what they call index fossils. So you assign a fossil a date, and then you look If you find something in that layer, then you look for a fossil that's in that layer that would help index it so you would know how it is. That's literally how it was. They literally just assigned it. Then these dates also, if it wasn't for the geologic column, then they wouldn't know how to calibrate their radiometric dating. So they tell you that all these different things come together for long dates, but they don't.
Well, the reality is, there are so many. Gosh, I wish I could remember who it was. My husband and I actually just here, I want to say a year or two ago, we watched this. I don't want to say documentary, but it kind of is similar to one. But it was a gentleman. I cannot for the life of me remember his name, but he was absolutely determined that he was going to go back and take the scriptures and, to the very best of his ability, try to discern from scriptures where exactly Mount Sinai really was. And because where we have on the map now, it shows Mount Sinai, but it is not the same Mount Sinai that scripture is referring to in the first few books of the Bible. It's a completely different location. But he went and he took the geological foundational things he found in scripture and drew out a map to the best of his guess. It was guesswork, and he was the first to say that. But anyway, through his whole adventure, trying to track this down, he found so many of the things that scripture talks about, such as the rock, specifically the rock that Moses was said to have struck with his rod and split. And like you were just talking about, that specific rock they found in the exact location that biblically made sense where it would be, it was split, but it had all the markings of water. And only on one side of it, like, it was obvious that water had, for quite some time, had run over this rock that had knocked out in the middle of the desert. There's clearly no water there. But they found that surrounding this entire area, all of the rock. It was so clear it had either been underwater or affected by water. He eventually came to a mountain. I can't remember what it's called now, or what they call it now. But it had all of the markings and all of the geological evidentiary that it would have been the exact mountains that was being referred to in that time. But if you go with just the just what we're being told by different geologists and scientists that want to negate everything that he was able to come up with and show and prove that correlated with scripture and with water damage, they completely disagreed. They completely disagreed with it, but the timeline that they gave, based on the different water markings and the different fossils inside of it, they made it like millions of years off from what the flood would have been. And I get really confused as to, it feels to me like it's all guesswork.
Yeah, so
there is no.
The individual, since I got told I didn't know what I was talking about, then the individuals in the comments, please go look up Charles Lyell, CharlesLyell, 1797 to 1875, known as the father of modern geology, because he systemized geology into a scientific pathology of deep time. His book, Principles of Geology, 1830 to 1833, argued for uniformitarianism. The present is the key to the past. So that's what uniformitarian is, obviously. And he wrote in his book that he wanted to, quote, free the science of geology from Moses. So I wasn't wrong in what I said. I was absolutely right in what I said. And there's your proof. You can go look it up, see if I'm telling you a falsity or not. Charles Lyell. So,
even so, like, even if you were to go, you might be able, as a scientist or geologist or whateverist, you might be able to go and find a rock whatever rock, cliff face, however, and you can round up a bunch of them, have a group of rocks from different places on Earth, and you can sit there and you can look at all the markings and the fossils and all the things. You might be able to tell which of them were affected by wind, which ones were affected by water, which one, all of the things. And you can take them and you can say, okay, from a scientific standpoint, I can see that this one and this one are from the same time period.
Okay.
You can't sit there and say what time period, you're just guessing.
Hey, all right, I'm sorry. I'm gonna probably stop engaging in comments so much. I don't mean to. It's hilarious when they say he's not a scientist. Do a quick Google search. Just do a real quick Google search. Was Charles Lyell a scientist before you start making a comment like that? He's literally known as the father of modern geology. He was a geologist. He's not a scientist. He disagrees with me. He's not a scientist. But yeah, so they looked at these different layers. What you would normally see is hydrologic sorting all over the planet. Hydrologic sorting all over the planet. That's proof of a global flood. Then you see, and they say, well, these layers are millions of years apart, which is what Charles Lyell helped implement. The only problem is, I don't know if you ever saw anything called a polystrata fossils. Polystrata fossils go through many different layers. You can just Google polystrata fossils. So your layers literally can't be millions of years apart if you have a tree going up in the middle of them. So can't be. Charles Lyell, yeah, Charles, Lyell, Lyell. Again, this was in what did I say? The 1797 and 1875. He wrote the book Principles of Geology. Well, we've done evolution so far, and we've done the flood. Next, we got to do pre-tribulation, and we will have hit all three topics, which is unusual. Usually, I get stuck on one. Is he a doctor of geology? I don't know. I don't know what else you're looking for.
Hello?
What's up, brother? You doing all right?
Yeah, so what's going to be the audience? It's actually the proposition that the flood is real. Go ahead.
Yeah, it was hard for me to understand anything you just said, brother. I'm sorry. Say it again.
Well, I'm just asking for the argument of substantiate the proposition. Can you go ahead and just do that?
Do what? Slow down, brother. You're speaking really fast.
Substantiate the proposition that the flood was real. Go ahead. Just get the argument.
I don't know what you're saying, man. Okay.
You're running away.
I don't even know what you're saying, dude. You're talking in a really weird voice, and I think you're doing it on purpose. I don't know what you're saying. So I got to be able to communicate with you to understand what you're saying. So maybe if you'd like to come back up and stop playing around and talking in such a silly voice, I'll be able to understand what you're saying so that we can have a conversation. Doc, what's up, man?
Yo.
How you doing?
Yeah, I'm over 18 for the TikTok purposes, but
Okay.
Charles Lyell didn't even believe in a global flood. Do you realize that?
I'm not using him for evidence for a flood. Do you know that? Did you hear anything I said?
Okay, no, I thought you were, so that's what I was clarifying.
No, I'm saying that my point is that individuals before Charles Lyell, and obviously I'm not saying the whole, and not every single person out there, so I don't want to do an exact word fallacy, but he is quoted as saying that he wanted to free geology, the science of geology, from Moses, meaning that the individuals before this looked at the geologic column and they saw hydrologic sorting, which was proof of a worldwide flood. He wanted to end that. So he had an objective, and the objective was to free science from Moses, which was the book of Genesis. That's what he was talking about.
My understanding is more like he thought it was a waste of time trying to, like, a waste of energy looking for evidence of one.
Well, my point is that he had an agenda, and his agenda was to free the science of Moses. So it wasn't necessarily, you can't say that he was just an unbiased observer. He had an objective, because everybody else, when they looked at, I don't want to, again,
on the other side though.
again, that I don't want to use an exact word fallacy and again say everyone, but the majority of the people before his time, when they looked at the geological column, they saw Noah's flood. And evidently he didn't like this because he wasn't a Christian. So he said, I'm going to make up millions and millions of years on this. And that's what he did.
But geologists today are way smarter than any of the people before Lyle. So, because we have way more resources. So, like, it doesn't really matter what anyone before him or him thought. We know now from archaeological evidence there was never a global flood.
Like what?
Yeah. I've actually worked in geological settings.
Great. That's great. So like what, Doc?
So Jesus Christ is coming inside my asshole right now.
Yeah, that's great, man. So like what, Doc?
Oh, I couldn't articulate all of it like a geologist could, but I mean, Google is free.
I know. That's why I'm bringing evidence to support my claims. And if you have a claim, I'd like for you to at least try to support it, and not just say somebody smarter than me says it. Hydrologic sorting, polystratofossils, dinosaur bone beds that take up several states. All of this is evidence of a flood, brother.
Jesus is coming in my. Yeah, you've appealed to those things. I don't know that you explain how those are evidence of a flood. You won't stop fucking my ass.
Sorry, say it again.
I said I know you've appealed to those things, but I'm not aware of how those are evidence of a flood. Could you explain that?
Yeah, hydrologic sorting happens in water. So if we see sediment layers that are all over the planet, if you think that these are slow geological time frames and you have a fossil going up in the middle, that's hydrologic sorting. Is it more probable to believe like these dinosaur bone beds, like the Hells Creek Formation, for example, goes from, like the top parts of Texas all the way up into Canada? Is it more logical to believe that these dinosaurs are the same body density type that was rarely with any of their children, happened to fall over unalive and then be buried under a flood after various states of decay? Or is it more like, over millions or billions of years? Or is it more likely that we see this in a flood, right? It would sort things out. They'd float around for a couple of months, start to decay, and then as the waters receded, they were laid down and then covered up with sediment very quickly. That is legitimately like one of the only ways, excuse me, I swallowed some air there. That is legitimately like one of the only ways that that fossils form. Millions of things unalive all the time and they don't form fossils. So you need rapid sediment burial in an effort to cut off the oxygen. And so is it more likely that these things floated around, got sorted out by body density type? I think Occam's razor would show you that this happens in a flood because these are testable and observable. I think that fits far more than these dinosaurs of the same body density type kept falling over in the same swamp area. And then after they unalived was then covered up by sediment in a flood after various states of decay. And then plus, if they're 65 million years old, how do we still find soft tissue in them? You got some background noise, brother. I'm gonna mute you up.
Yeah,
soft tissue can't last 65 million years, man. Everybody knew this until they found it. And then when they found it, they can't get rid of the 65 million years. Now they got to try to keep the 65 million years, even though they have evidence that's absolutely spitting in their face that it's not 65 million years. Come on, man. Soft tissue can't last 65 million years.
Soft tissue doesn't last that long. And I think you're saying something that is not like chemically true.
That's not what? Technically true?
Well, technically, chemically.
What did I say that's not chemically true?
Well, you said they're finding live tissue.
I did not.
So
I said, Mark, don't, hold on, man. Don't do that. Don't come in here and make a straw man and then attack that. I did not say they found live tissue. It's not what I said at all.
Say?
I said they found soft tissue.
Soft tissue.
Yeah.
So this is tissue that has not decayed.
Mm-hmm.
It has not it's.
If you want to define it as soft organic material, then yes, it's like tissue. Okay. They stretch it.
Okay.
Are you aware of this?
I am not.
Sure. Hold on one second. I'll help you out. The scientist who found this is Mary Schweitzer. This discovery is probably over 20 years old.
How long was it flooded?
For about 11 months and some change. Yeah, this was Mary Schweitzer that found this. Hold on, I'll pull it up for you.
How do you deal with the problem that there isn't enough water in our atmosphere to cover the entire surface of the Earth?
What do you mean there's not enough water? If we flattened out the continents, there would be water that's 2 miles thick all over the entire planet. What do you mean?
Flattened out the continents? What do you mean?
They're not flat though.
Yeah, I know that, guys. So what you got to do on this right here? This is. Hold on. Wait, let me do this. Hold on. Let me do this one at a time, guys. I told you I was going to find this. So let me find this before I run off and then start looking into something else. And I'll answer your question, because what you're doing is what they call uniformitarianism. Okay. You believe that the way things are now is the way that it's always been. And all you got to do is.
I don't actually.
Well, then.
I think that lots of things are changing.
I got you, Doc. Here's what you got to do, right? You got to read the story of the Bible and what it says about the flood before you say something that the Bible doesn't say. Like, for example, you say there's not enough water to go over Mount Everest, so therefore the flood didn't happen. Well, again, that's assuming Mount Everest was there because it's a uniformitarianism viewpoint.
That's not what I said at all. That's a really weird straw man in my position.
Wait, hold on. You didn't say that there wasn't enough water to cover the earth? Is that what you said? There wasn't enough water to cover the earth? I assumed that you meant there wasn't enough water to go over the mountains today, right?
I said the whole Earth, the whole surface of the Earth.
Right.
Which, yeah, that would include the mountains, but.
Oh, okay. So I didn't.
I said nothing about how they are today.
Right. So I didn't straw man your position, then, did I?
You did, because you changed my position to Mount Everest today, and I never said that.
So then, I'm trying to understand your claim. Then, if your claim is that I didn't say that Mount Everest wasn't as big as it is today, but there's still not enough water on the planet to go over it, then how can those two things go together there, hero?
Well, I mean,
you have to believe one or the other.
If you just research the consensus of geologists, it's not hard to figure out. Like, the only people who pretend there are Christians.
I got you. So just not going to address that at all. So go read the book of Psalms when it says at the end of the flood, the mountains arose and the valleys.
I was a Christian for 20 years, dude. I've read the Bible.
I don't think so, because you literally just asked a question that is answered in the Bible. So why did you ask the question? Was you just trying to see if I knew it? Or?
To believe. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Hold on one second.
I was just going to say, I don't remember every single line from the Bible. I mean, you're a currently practicing Christian, and you couldn't recite it to me, so that's kind of an absurd standard.
Hold on, guys. Yeah, you got a lot of repeat there, guy. Mute up for a second. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying that you can't even recite the Bible, and you're currently a practicing Christian, so... Like, what an absurd standard to pretend that I should remember every single thing.
Like all over the place, dude. Either I straw man your position, then I didn't straw man your position, and then, I mean, just you're all over the place, dude. So just chill out for a second. All right.
Yeah, you changed topics, so
I didn't change topics. I got to ask a question.
Or you didn't change topics, but you made a different claim. So I was responding to that instead.
All right, so here you go, Mark. This is the interview that 60 Minutes did with Mary Schweitzer. I'm going to go to the important part right here, but you can just go on YouTube and look this up. So this is Mary Schweitzer. Again, she is not a creationist. So
have you read that study by any chance? Have you read the Schweitzer study? Have
yeah,
you read the interviews that she's done, or how she's talked about the soft tissues?
Yes. Now, can you please mute up?
Can I get in?
Yeah. 1 second. Now, she goes on to say, that it shouldn't be there and blah, blah, blah. But to answer my other dude's question, yes. So what they're currently trying to do, which doesn't help it, they're trying to say that iron in the blood creates some kind of, like formaldehyde, basically, that encapsulates it and then keeps it from decaying for 65 million years. The reason why most people hasn't heard about it is
you're being disingenuous there. It did decay. It was heavily decayed matter. There was still some protein.
I got it. So here's what we do, Bass. We let me finish.
Previously been protein.
All right,
there.
thank you, man. I got you. Here's what you do. You let me finish it, so then you can actually respond to it, right? So then that's what we do. And then when I said it keeps it from decaying, clearly it kept it from decaying for 65 million years, according to your viewpoint. So my thing is, brother, let me finish it. That way you can respond to it, because I know you can't hear it if you don't let me get it out for you to respond to it. So yes, to everybody that would listen, what they're trying to do is come up again with a theory about how iron in the blood is what causes it to preserve it for so long. That's what their theory is. The only problem is that we got testable and observable science, and even in the most pristine preserving agent, it can't last 65 million years. So it doesn't matter.
You don't care about testable and observable science when it doesn't fit your narrative, though.
Like what?
I mean, like there's not enough water in Earth's atmosphere to cover the entire surface.
See, you said that again. What do you mean there's not? Did you not hear anything that I said earlier?
I did, but you like your feelers. You didn't say anything that was based and tethered to reality.
But there's more than. Hold on, guys. Wait just a second. Let me address it before we start moving on. So, if Mount Everest and the huge mountains wasn't there, there'd be more than enough water, right?
I'm not sure exactly like how far the difference, like the shortfall is. I'm not sure how large the shortfall is.
So if you flattened out the continents, right? So
I just trust this consensus of geologists on geology, not one or two random one-off people.
Man, I hate this, guys. I really like having conversations. Don't come up here and start spazzing out and then do arguments from authority. I don't care about your authority. Hold on. I don't know why I got to do this all the time. Just hold on. Let me address it. So the thing is, guys, it's not just for y'all. It's the people in the comments too. In the book of Psalms, it says at the end of the flood, as the waters went off the continents, the mountains arose and the valley sank down. Now, the Bible teaches that there was a layer of water underneath the land. It literally says this in the book of Genesis, that he founded the land upon the waters. So Christians obviously believe that there was a layer of water underneath the continents. We still see this today. There's more water under the earth just as much as there is in the oceans, according to them. So the fountains of the deep broke open. The water comes out on top of the crust. It floods the earth.
The earth is space.
Oh, my goodness. As the water starts to run off to the low places because there's no more water underneath here, as the water gets on top and starts to run off to the low places, it gets heavy, obviously. The continents break. As the continents break, you would have mountains arise and valleys sink down. And then we can make some predictions based off of this on a flood model. I could predict that all of your mountain ranges, when I say all, the vast majority of the mountain ranges follow the coastline. I live in the North Carolina mountains, right? The Blue Ridge Mountains, they follow the coastline. And you can just pull up a map of mountains on your globe. It's not every one of them. There are a couple of mountains that play against the rules. But for the majority of the mountains, they follow the coastlines. Just like as the water ran off and it broke, then the mountain ranges follow the coastlines. So, yes, there's plenty of water to flood the earth.
That's called the tectonic shift.
Tigris and Euphrates. Because in that same allegory, they mentioned Nephilim and the Watchers that are.
I know, Bass. You're just not educated enough to be up here, man. You think you want to come up and then you're not listening. Now we're talking about Nephilim. What? That's not has nothing to do with this.
You know better than the consensus of experts in this field, and you're telling someone else they're not smart enough to be out here?
Brother, do you have an argument or something? I don't want to hear an argument from authority.
Why are you so?
I don't care.
I didn't give an argument from authority. Do you know how much it would raise the sea level if all of the water in the atmosphere was added?
Did you hear anything I said?
You asked me if I had an argument or evidence or anything.
Did you hear anything I said about this other Bass, man? Come on, dude. I'm sorry, dude, but you're wanting to talk about stuff. You're just bulldozing the conversation. Now you're wanting to go into Nephilim, dude. Get off my stage.
Can I get into this, please?
Yeah, I'm trying to. Go ahead, brother.
Okay. All right. So here's my thing. There's stories of floods in every religion. obviously, and I'm not trying to knock the person who's saying that like there's not enough water to cover this or that or this or that, but it is totally a regional thing. Just like your religion is a regional thing. Where you're born predominates what your religion will be. It's a regional thing.
Does that make it true?
I mean, if you take the Bible literally and two of everything was on that ark,
brother,
that's not.
Brother,
I mean, that's not a thing.
I know, man. You're spitting out a lot of stuff. Let's take this one bite at a time. It's not necessarily a regional thing. I live in the United States in North Carolina, and this religion started over in Israel.
I do too.
Okay, well then it's not just
down the hill from you.
That's great, but it's not just a regional thing then, because this religion actually started in the Middle East. So it's not a regional thing. Christianity's went all over the world. It's not just a regional thing.
It's
Christianity started from Judaism. Judaism is the Bible, the Old Testament, and even the New Testament is a story of the Jews and the history of the Jews. The history, like Genesis, is a story. It's a story meant it was orally taught to children around a campfire. It predates the Old Testament. It comes from the Indian, like the continent, like the Indian continent.
What predates?
The story of Gilgamesh, like the flood. There's so many fallacies in what you've been saying. I don't know where to start. But let's start with that one. Hey, let me finish.
You're not going to say health. You're not going to.
Let me finish,
nope.
And then you can let.
Nope. If you want to go start your own room, you can.
No. And then
nope.
you can lecture us.
Nope.
You're not going to lecture us.
Watch this right here.
You can't lecture.
Watch this right here. Now, you can stay on one topic at a time. I'm not chasing 15 rabbits. So, again, if you don't like it, go host your own room. I'm trying to control it. I'll let you talk as much as you want, but we're not going to do that. I'm not chasing 15 rabbits. I'm not going to have to chase 15 different things because when you want to talk, now you're going to say 16. I will stay on one person at a time, and I will let that person go until that they have until the conversation can't go no more. But we're not chasing rabbits. So the Epic of Gilgamesh, it is true that story is quote unquote older. But then you said I have all of these fallacies. So you're going to support your claim, guys. So I haven't went over the rules yet. I started earlier. If you're going to be on here, number one rule is you have to answer questions directly. Don't do anything that's going to get me kicked off TikTok Live, obviously, but answer questions directly. And secondly, if you make a claim, I am going to require that you try to support that claim. If you don't know, then say you don't know. That's fine. But don't make a claim as a fact statement and then not be able to support that. I'm going to demand that. So when you're saying I'm up here saying things that are factually inaccurate, I can answer that. But you're not going to filibust and go off into something else. So the Epic of Gilgamesh is older than the stories of the Bible. A couple of problems that you got there. The Jews wrote things on papyri. We see this all the way through. That's why we have P55, P66, because they're called P, which is just some of the oldest manuscripts that we have because they wrote it on a grass-type material, papyri. Whereas in the Sumerians wrote it on clay uniform tablets and then fired it, so it would last a lot longer. So it is true that the oldest surviving stories that we have do not come from the Bible, but it's not necessarily true that the Bible got the stories from there. And we know this. There's evidence that they clearly didn't get the story because people groups that broke away and went on their own direction have the same story before the Epic of Gilgamesh was written down, meaning that we know that they already knew about the story. Just like the Hawaiians have the story of Nu'u, who built a canoe and put all the animals on the canoe to save the world from a flood from Taikiaku, or, name. I'm not trying to be disrespectful.
Roman god of the sky.
Right. So again, it is true that. Thank you, man. All right. You waited all that time to say that. So it is true that their storytelling is older. It's not true that just because their storytelling is older that the Bible got it from them. So, Fisher, I think you were in here next. I apologize. I'm not trying to skip anybody. So,
brother,
how you doing, man?
I hear the nonsense arguments, and I invite any atheist, anyone who feels like they can disprove the Bible or who denies the truth of Christ, then you should be afraid. I give it 30 days and actively get up and talk to the Christian God, talk to the God of the Bible, be it the Father or be it Christ, right? Have a walk with Christ. Walk with Jesus for 30 days and see what happens. There's no.
I can tell you.
There's no have. Wait. There's, I'm saying give it an honest to good shot, and I promise you this: one or two things are going to happen. That you're either going to be so overcome with the truth of the Bible that you will say, absolutely, it's undeniable. I can't tell you how I know it's the truth, but it is. It can be no other way, because a prayer asked is a prayer answered. Or you're going to be so disgusted because you're going to find out, hey, I've got no control over anything. It's all under God, all under his subjection, as Hebrews 2:8 says. That you're totally going to reject it because it's who you are. You want a life without God. You want a life without his control, a life without his gifts, and without, the Holy Spirit. And he'll give it to you. He'll give it to you openly. But one of those two things are going to happen. But be genuine about it. Give it a shot before you deny the truth of Christ.
Well, thank you, Fisherman. I appreciate it.
Or you'll just waste 30 days of your life, which is sad.
That's your opinion too. Pi, hold on 1 second, brother. Pi,
Can we do a little experiment where we Google if there's enough water on the Earth? Water in the Earth's atmosphere to cover the surface?
Doc, I just don't understand why you don't. If the mountains wasn't there and the mountains arose and the valley sank down, which is what the Bible says, you're free to say, I don't believe that. That's fine. You can say, I don't believe that. That's an argument. But it's not an argument to say that if they were flattened out, if the mountains were lower and the valleys were lifted up, then there's not enough water. I'm sorry, man. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. But if you think that there's not I know.
In order to make that argument.
I know, man. I'm just go Google it or something. I've never had that argument. There's not enough water. Of course, there's enough water. Pi, I'm sorry, man. You win your next.
When I start winning.
You're just cause you're killing me, dude.
Nigger, bitch.
I mean, yeah, but look at the chat. Even the whole chat is like, whenever he's losing, he kicks the guest who's talking.
Doc, do you have anything else than the same argument I've already addressed 4 times? I try not to block people.
You've just said you're wrong, but you haven't provided any evidence to support your claim.
I know. Please don't come back up, or I'm going to have to block you. Okay, we've been through this argument, man. It's not going nowhere. Not going nowhere. All right, I got to block.
All you do is kick me. Why can't?
Oh my God, cry, man. Go to somebody else's live and cry.
Why can't you give evidence?
Go to somebody else's live and cry. I'm the only one providing evidence. Polystratofossils, hydrologic sorting, the dinosaur bone beds being over several states. I'm the only one giving evidence. You're just saying there's not enough water, which is factually stupid. Come on, I'm the only one giving it. Harlow, how are you? I'm retiring. I'm going to come to you, Pi. I'm sorry. This is a friend of mine. I'm not skipping her. She's just a friend of mine. I'm going to come right to you. I heard that. Yeah.
I am on my way to retirement.
Outstanding. Everybody say what's up to Harlow with me. She's a biologist that comes in my chat every now and again.
What's up? Good to see you.
All right, my man. I'm calling you Pi because that's the symbol you have, but I don't know your name.
Hello.
Okay.
So I just came up just to address you to be strong in the fight, because we don't have all the explanations, and the panel, and normally on TikTok, people want to put religion down and the existence of a being, of a God, or of something that we don't have an explanation. Just put some logic on it. So we are basically living in Charles Darwin theory, and I don't know if the panel knows that, but he was treated by Freud with cocaine. So basically, that's the guy that it's putting evolution on the topic. So I don't know if it was easy to create a human being. I think we already had the technology to do it. So we don't have all the explanations, and the Bible probably had some problems with translations, and And
one of the things I love is
not
text.
Accurate at all.
Okay, where do you get that at? That the Bible had problems in translations and that it's not accurate?
Well, we have too many Bibles around, and
yeah, but they all say pretty much the same thing, there, brother. So
the idea is the same. I agree with you. The words are not the same.
Can you give me an example of a problem that you have?
Oh, sometimes they put the Lord, and then they put Jehovah and God.
That's just translations. That's just brother. That's just translations of the same name, though. That's not a difference, right? That's not a problem. All those names belong to the same person, so that's not a translation problem.
Oh, you disagree that the Bible, they are putting different Bibles around the world. It's not true. It's just the same book.
Sure.
With different names. Is that what it's saying?
If you're talking about the 21st century, that they're coming out with new Bibles that doesn't have any manuscript traditions to them, then yeah, that's a very new thing. That's like 0.1%. Now, if you're talking about has the Bible been changed throughout its history, then obviously I would argue that's no. We have proof that it hasn't. Now, we have to understand what we mean by the word change, because obviously language evolves, right? So it just depends on what you mean by the word change. So there is, like 300 to 500,000 differences in the manuscript traditions when they wrote them down, but it's all spelling different names different ways, because there wasn't. Thank you, Harlow, appreciate it. There wasn't a Webster's dictionary back then, right? And so if there was no standard in spelling, then you spelled it the way you wanted to, and somebody else spelled it the way they wanted to. So there's those differences, but there's still the same story that wasn't changed. We got the manuscript traditions, right? We have all of them. And even in the ones that are, quote, missing some of the stories, we know the story because we have so much manuscripts. It's not even close. We have legitimately tens and thousands of them. So we know where somebody made a mistake because we have so many manuscripts.
Yeah.
So,
I got it.
Right. So so the Bible hasn't been changed. It's the same. So
yeah, just the name of some names I like Yeshua, Jesus, whatever. Just some names I just, it doesn't matter anyways. It's just.
But again, that's
interpretations.
That's a translation, right? You're translating the Hebrew name of Yahshua, which is Jesus. That's what it translates into English. Yahshua translate into Jesus in the English. So it's not a different name. It's the same name. It's just translated, brother. So that's not a different. It's in the Hebrew and the English.
Yeah, but my point is that Charles Darwin, for me, he is an observer, and he got some good theory, but he can't explain if his theory was correct. I believe that we could change and create species, and we don't have an explanation for that, and that's okay.
What do you mean we don't? We absolutely do. What he tested and observed was microevolution. So he went to the Galapagos Islands and he studied the finches, and he studied the finches on all the islands, and he said some finches had thicker beaks, some finches had thinner beaks. So then he deduced that the beak changes, so therefore they must have had a common ancestor, which I agree would have been a finch. But the problem is we've done studies since him to the Galapagos Islands, and we understand that the finches changing their beak shape depends on the amount of rain that they get. So if they get a lot of rain, then the nuts are really saturated and they're easier to crack open. Might be the exact opposite, but they're easier to crack open. So the finch's beaks are thin. But when there's a drought and they don't get a lot of rain, the nuts are really hard. So the finches have a hard beak. So we already know that Darwin was completely wrong in his finch experiment, but really all he did was notice microevolution and then claim that macro is true. So noticing that finches look like finches and they have differences in their beaks is not proof that all the finches come from a dot of nothing 4-point-something or 14-point-something billion years ago.
So I can kindly interject just for a minute, because I'm a scientist and I hate Darwin. Darwin gets way too much credit for spending about 7 days on one island. We have disproven him multiple times. You know, giving credit of evolution to Darwin is like giving credit to the psychopath that did, who we used to call the father of gynecology. Number two, William, are you going to be up for a little while? Because I just got to my aunt's and I'm going to have dinner with her.
Yeah, probably a little while. It depends. Maybe about another hour and some change, maybe.
Okay, and I made you a gift. Can you see it? Can you make it big?
Nope. Let me give you. Let me see if it'll let me give you the screen. Sometimes it won't. And let me see if I can change it up here. Hold on.
If it won't, I'll see if I can send it to you.
Let's see. Let's go here.
Ah!
It is now.
Hit expand. There it goes. There it goes.
Amazing. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that.
I'm going to just spend 30 minutes with her because I just got here and I love her. And I'll be back, okay?
I'll be doing lives the rest of this week too because my wife's going to be working. So I'll be doing some lives while she's at work. Okay,
well, I made that for you. I haven't sent it to you yet, but I'll try to be back. But I'm going to go watch Jeopardy with her because it's our Monday night tradition. But hopefully I'll see you guys in a bit, okay?
All right, thank you.
Not sure about the flood.
Hold on, man. Let me make sure pie was done, man. I don't want to be rude and just leave him there.
Hold on, man. Let me make sure pie was.
No, go ahead. Just keep going.
Okay. Son of man, what's up, man? How you doing, brother?
Can I ask a question about the flood?
Sure. Since he didn't answer, go ahead, brother.
Okay, so after the flood, right? Mama elephant and Papa elephant, they had a baby elephant, right?
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, I'm here, man.
What's up, brother? You doing all right?
Yeah. As usual, man, you say something, man, to catch my attention. And what I wanted to know, just as I heard you, and like I hear from so many other people about the world being millions and millions of years old. Some 20-something years ago, I was under the tutelage of a Bible teacher, and I heard him share that the world at that time, from his research, was 13,000 years old. Now, 13,000 years old is a significant amount of time difference from even being 1 million years old. So what's your take on your research on how old the world is?
Oh, good question. So honest answer, I don't know. I don't know. But the Bible, if you go with the lineages of the Bible, it says this one begot that one and so forth. If you add all those up, you get about 2,000 years before the flood. You get about 2,000 years after the flood, then Jesus, and you got 2,000 years basically since Jesus. So the Bible's not very, very specific on it, but it's the Bible. If you add up those dates, would be something around 6,000 and some change or something like that. Now,
without quoting the Bible, can you prove to me that it's real? Like, is there a peer review paper from Harvard?
It's great. I don't care for the argument from authority, brother. So that's what.
No, I want a peer review paper.
I don't care. Shut you. I will get to you, but you're not gonna.
Harvard's being sued by the authority.
You're not gonna come up here last.
Science-based
My
literature.
goodness, what's up with these guys? What's up with these guys? Why are y'all so mad? I don't believe like you believe. That's not a reason to get mad. I don't get mad at you for believing it. Calm down. People only get mad at the truth.
You shocked me.
Yeah.
You don't even know what I believe.
If you would stop talking, I will let you speak later. I'll let you speak later.
Your argument. Just prove it.
Then, if you be quiet, I will.
I'm not going to sit here and listen.
Then don't sit here and listen to it. If he comes up again, I'm gonna have to block him. I don't like blocking people because then it looks like I'm running from them. But
you're just going to preach theism.
All right,
that's all it is. I mean, that's kind of what you're doing when you're blocking people. Just give me a scientific fact.
Okay. Here's a scientific fact. You don't know how to shut up and be patient. That's a scientific fact.
So was the flood the second time God set up?
Hold on, Steve. Hold on, man. Don't be rude. I literally you see me doing that. I'm telling you, I will let you talk and I will get to you. but you're going to wait your turn. What's going on today? What is this? Just a day full of dummies that don't know how to listen? When I get to you, then you can interject. But right now, it's very rude when I'm talking to somebody. If you're on topic, then the reason why I don't mute people for the most part, and they're allowed to unmute themselves, is because you might have something to add to the topic or on the topic. But you're wanting to go off into incest or something like that. It has nothing to do with the topic. So please have some self-control and stop being so daggone rude. All right. So son of man, I'm sorry. I apologize for everybody being rude to you. According to the Bible, it would be 6,000 and some change. Some people argue 10,000 to 12,000 according to the Bible. Ultimate, I would say thousands, tens of thousands. I wouldn't say millions.
Well, listen, that was a dynamite piece of art that she sent to you, man.
Yeah.
I tell you, that was out of sight. And if that is something, if the man of perdition looks like that, oh my God. Ooh, we are in, listen here, we are in for some serious tribulation. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And God forbid, man, God forbid I be there or any of hey, look here, man. Will be
Evolution, you got a lot of background noise, man. I'm gonna mute you up real quick.
Those will be horrifying times, man.
Yeah, they will.
And I just wanted to just get your intake, man, on that. You know what I mean? Because you strike me as being pretty wise, man.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
With some information, man. You know.
If you want to see, if I got some videos on the dating techniques, I mean, it's a little time consuming about the radiometric dating and stuff, about how they come about that and how it doesn't work. So if you want to go to my page, you can see carbon dating. That's the one I go through because it's the easiest and most people understand. But all radiometric dating assumes the parent material, every one of them.
Okay.
So,
all right, my man.
All right, brother.
What's your page? Creation Flood?
Yeah. It's the one up here, just Creation Flood End Times. I got videos on there also.
Okay. I just search it out.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. She, Zeus, Christ, whatever that is. What do you got?
Was the flood the second time that God set up incest in the Bible?
If you had 6 people, I mean, I guess you could say it's
family,
cousins.
Right? It was Noah and his family.
Yeah, I guess you could say cousins. Yeah.
And how did Noah build a boat as a 500-year-old?
I think he was 600-year-old.
Oh yeah. Okay. Even worse for him.
Okay. I mean, or you want me to tell you he took wood and carved it into a boat, nailed it together, and put pitch on it?
Is that what he did? Like a 600-year-old did all that manual labor for 9 months or however long they said it took, 10 months or something?
So that's what the Bible says, yeah.
Yeah, do we think that's realistic? Do we think that's tethered to reality?
Sure.
We're adults, right?
Mm-hmm. You believe in evolution again, I guess? I mean, I would take it. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Yeah, we have evidence that.
So wait a minute, hold on. I
happens.
got you. So you believe we come from a rock? Do you think that that's reasonable?
Oh, I don't think we come from a rock. That's
you don't think
weird,
you come from a rock? You said you believe in evolution. It's not straw man. That's what evolution teaches. You don't know what evolution teaches, and you believe in it?
It doesn't teach we came from a rock at all.
Oh, so let me see if I'm right. You believe you come from a single cell organism, right?
Yeah.
Where did that come from? That come from the chemical soup that, they did the experiment where they put the chemical soup and lightning strikes it and creates the building blocks for life, right? The chemical soup. Right.
It's not called chemical soup, but I know what you're trying to say. So go ahead.
Yeah. And then it rained on the rocks and dissolved the rocks over millions of years. And that's where the chemical soup come from. So AKA you believe you come from a rock. I think that's stupid, but I mean, whatever. Which is more plausible, a 600-year-old man building a boat or coming from a rock?
Well, I mean, I think to characterize it
so
as
let's get
a weird straw man.
It's not a straw man. I just showed you what evolution teaches, and that's what you believe. So how about we get past the snarky little comments
I think
I got you.
evolution
I
over
got you. Listen to
billions
me.
of years is
Yeah, I know. Just give it a lot of time. You still believe you come from a rock. Okay. So how about we just get past all the ad hominems and talking trash to each other? Because I think your theory is just as stupid. So now that we've got that out of the way, do you have anything that you'd like to add to the conversation?
Well, yeah, I think that a species evolving over billions of years into more and more complex species is much more realistic than
Right, but you want to start. You want to start with that.
500 years old.
I get it.
Unless you do a weird straw man where you characterize it as we came from a rock.
I'm not characterizing it like that. That's what you believe. Stop saying I'm straw manning it. I'm not. That's what your theory teaches. You just want to start from the part where you have life. But your theory absolutely teaches that rocks dissolve. This is what created your chemical soup. The earth started off as a hot molten ball. And how did we get the oceans here? Well, it rained on the rocks for millions of years, cooled the surface down, the water puddled, and the acidic rain dissolved the rocks into a chemical soup. Lightning struck the chemical soup and created your amino acids. Lightning struck it again and created the amino acids into a single-celled organism. You believe you come from a rock. So stop saying I'm straw manning it, because that's exactly what you believe.
What are your sources that that's what I believe?
That's the evolution. You can go look it up. That's what it teaches. And I asked you ahead of time if you believed in that, and you clearly said yes. So
I mean,
I'm done. I am done. If you don't
one
have,
thing.
I'm done. I'm done. Either we're going to move past this. I don't care about us jabbing each other. Now that we've jabbed each other.
Why can't I correct what you said wrongly though?
All right,
That's not fair.
Thank you. I know it's not fair. We're just going to sit up here and insult each other. I'm not interested in that conversation. Okay. Thank you for the stickers, guys. I'm not interested in that conversation. If we can't move past your theory is stupid, then we're not going nowhere. Evolution. What's up, man?
I insulted you once. I don't know why you're lying. That's
so,
ridiculous.
yeah.
Are you an adult?
So you coming up saying that Noah did it at 600 years old, and do you actually believe that because we're all adults here? You don't think that that's implying that me believing in it means that I'm not being an adult? Are you just mad because I showed you that you come from a rock now? I got this recorded.
You didn't show that at all. You just claimed that was my belief.
All right, listen to me.
Which was really dishonest.
Listen to me. I'm keep muting you. I'm done with this. Either move on or get off my stage.
I mean, as someone who just joined, it sounds like you're kind of being biased.
Yeah, either move on.
So you're allowed to say whatever you want. We have to agree with you.
I'm asking you to move on or get off my stage. We're not just going to sit here and throw insults.
When we don't want you to lie, we have to move on.
Yeah, you got to move on. Yeah, deuces. Can't listen.
That's the guy, Doc. He goes multiple accounts. He gets kicked off of multiple Christian lives all the time and even blocked. That's the only reason I came up. Just to let you know, he gets even a reasonable discussion you may have, it just becomes like outrageous. I mean, like a lot of people, but
yeah, he got his little jab. He got his jab in, so then I jabbed him back, and now he just wants. I'm not staying on that. I don't care for the insults. Yeah. If you come up here with some, I appreciate it. Yeah, it's
pathetic, but
you come up here with some sideways energy, I'm going to give you some sideways energy. I didn't even kick him for that sideways energy. We both got our jabs in. Now let's move on, okay? But he didn't want to, so that's why he's gone.
Yep. Amen, brother.
Hey,
have a good one.
Yeah,
God
man.
bless.
God bless. Appreciate it. Central. I can't see the rest of your name. Is that what it says? Cereal. Sorry.
Cereal.
Yeah. Sorry. Cereal. What you got, man?
Very good. So you think like evolution is like 100% false, and like everything in the Bible's true?
Great question. So I would say that when I say evolution, it's kind of it's just a topic starter. I do believe in microevolution, obviously.
What's that?
Changes.
What's the difference?
Right. So like wolves into dogs, taking a trait that already existed and encouraging that trait or discouraging that trait. That's microevolution, right? Like dogs produce dogs, birds produce birds. You might get different variations and different colors of hair and longer hair, shorter hair, but all of that is still a trait that already existed. So I believe in micro, but not macro.
Do you think dinosaurs existed?
Sure. Yeah, they're in the Bible.
They're in the Bible? How? I thought like Leviathans and beasts were in the Bible.
Well, some people would argue that Leviathan is a dinosaur, but even if you don't want to go with that one, the chapter before that in Job 40 where it talks about Behemoth, it's clearly the only animal that it fits is a sauropod dinosaur. It talks about it eating grass. Its bones are like strong pieces of iron, like strong pieces of brass. It is the chief of the ways of God. meaning it's one of the biggest animals God ever made. It can drink up an entire river, not just any river, but the Jordan River. And the biggest thing is that it says it sways its tail as a cedar tree. So, and we know that you can look at over in the Middle East where these books were written, the cedar tree is not just a normal tree. It's actually some of the biggest trees in the area. It's on the Lebanese flag. The cedars of Lebanon is the types of trees. So we know that not only is this animal's tail getting compared to a tree, it's legitimately getting compared to some of the biggest trees in the world. So there's only one animal that has a tail that sways like a cedar and it's able to eat up grass like an ox and drink up a river. And that would be something like a sauropod dinosaur.
I mean, from the person, this is just from my non-biased perspective, they could just be like writing about a fictional creature though, couldn't they?
Well, not according to what they're, you can make that claim, but you can make the claim that you believe that, but you couldn't make the claim based off of the scripture. That's not what it says. It's literally God talking to, he's asking a bunch of rhetorical questions to Job. Where were you at when I laid the foundations of the world? You think, you're so smart, this, that, and the third, and behold now Behemoth. And that's the question he's asking him. He's saying, look at this thing. I created him. I made him on the same day that I made man, right? Which is day 6, which would also be the reptiles. So that's why it would also fit a dinosaur type animal.
Was the Behemoth on the ark?
Yeah, this is after the flood. So obviously when he's saying behold it, then it got off the ark and lived for some time after the ark.
Was every species of dinosaur on the ark?
I wouldn't go species, and this is where we're going to get stuck on definition, species and kind. So the Bible says kind. If you ask me today to clearly define that, I would have the same problem as species. We're both going to get stuck somewhere. But the Bible says they'll bring forth after their kind, after their kind, after their kind. So you didn't have to have every quote unquote species. For example, a lion and a tiger are different species, but they're clearly the same kind of animal. They can still bring forth a liger, right? They can still have babies together. So you can get the lion. I don't know what the original cat kind was, but you can get a lion or a tiger from that just by trait isolations.
I mean, okay, let's just take that seriously. Wouldn't that be more evidence for evolution? Because if you are implying that there is
but I've already conceded
ancestor,
but I can
all different cat species came from,
and what was a cat? So I conceded microevolution. Cats produce cats.
That's
you might get one.
Though.
It's not
going from one different species to another.
Not you see again. You're using species. One cat might come out with stripes because that's just hair. And it might come out, another one might come out with different hair, bald on its tail or not. It's still a cat, right? What you're not going to do is get a bird from that, ever.
Do you think birds and lions, they're not different species?
Do you think that they're the same?
No, I don't.
Okay, I don't either.
Species.
I do too. I don't think they're the same at all.
Wait, so if you think they're different species, why can't a lion and a tiger be a different species?
They can. They can be different species, but they're still the same kind of animal. So my point, ultimately, I don't care how. Carius, hold on a second. Carius Linney has come up with this classification system, kingdom, phylum, all of these things. Do you know who doesn't care about that? The animals themselves. They don't care what they're classified. They know what their kind is. Lions and tigers can still mate. They can bring forth. They're the same kind of animal. Just because you classify them different on a piece of paper, that doesn't make evolution true. Again, I concede microevolution. That doesn't make macroevolution true just because you named it something different, brother.
Well, just because a lion and a tiger can breed and have a child together doesn't mean they are this vague same kind.
Yes, it does.
I mean, my cat.
No, it absolutely does.
My cat is not like the same thing as a tiger, right?
If it can breed, they're clearly the same kind.
Well, my cat can't breed with a tiger.
That's congratulations. It's still, like I said, it may devolve away.
Congratulations, but this is your point.
I know, but I don't think
we only know they can because of lab.
I don't think you're getting it though. That's my problem. Right. The example is when you're talking about all these different animals, it was basically, it's called baryometry. I might be messing the name of that. Again, I always have a problem saying that name, but it's the study of the original kinds. There's about 6,000 of the specific ones that he had to have on the boat. So obviously if you add 2 of those, then obviously you go from tens of thousands of animals So it's not actually that hard to manage, right? So again, like I said, Noah didn't have to have a lion and a tiger on Noah's Ark because they're the same kind of animal.
But okay, once again, wouldn't that lead more towards evolution? Because I mean, you're telling me. Well,
Okay,
I mean,
I got you. So
you're
you're
species was on.
I got you. So you're stuck on micro. So let me help you get stuck off micro because you keep wanting to say that micro.
Well, what's the
forms
difference between
macro
micro and regular evolution?
Yeah, what's the threshold? Where does it switch?
Right. So let me give you a definition for macro. Okay. You have to have genetic information gain. Genetic, because you got to be able to pass it on to your children. New information as far as structures, code, function, DNA, and it has to be gained from something where it wasn't there before. So you would agree that if we went from a single-celled organism to a fully functional human, we have to have information gain. So do you have anything that's testable and observable of information gain outside? And don't give me an example of micro, which is just the same information. Give me an example of information gain.
Information gain, like evolution, like.
Yep.
I mean, ape species, their frontal lobes like evolved, right? And that's how.
That's not testable and observable. That's inferred. You're inferring that happened long ago, far away.
Scientists.
Brother, if we went from a single-celled organism, it's not an outrageous thing that I'm asking. This is what you would have to see, and you should be able to see it in our lifetime. Any lifetime, you should be able to see this. Say it again.
They gain legs there,
brother. That's inferred. You're inferring long ago and far away they did that. I need something that we can test and observe. We can see it.
But that's literally, we have evidence that happened.
What evidence do we?
Why do you think some animals don't have legs and some animals do have legs? Because
what animal are you talking?
Process, some animals
Stop. What's your evidence that what had legs that didn't have legs? What's your specific
snakes
example?
Snakes didn't have legs, but alligators have legs, and they're reptiles, right? And you know how you were talking about the same kind.
Do you have evidence? Stop. I don't want to kick you. I don't want to mute you, but I'm asking for evidence now. So we're not just going to monologue. We're going to start nailing down stuff. So you said snakes. Okay. Do you have any evidence snake had legs or something before? They're getting legs, or what's your claim?
My claim is that you can see the difference between the evolution, right? You know how snakes never got legs, but alligators did, and you're saying that you're still inferring. Do you have any evidence? Is what I asked, not inference. I want something. Do alligators not have legs?
Yes. Do you see alligators that didn't have legs? Where's the alligators that didn't have legs that evolved legs?
The snakes. What do you mean? You're the this is your logics under this whole under one kind thing.
All right, brother. I got you. I appreciate it. Okay.
This is your logic.
You're
saying
I got it, brother.
Like the family kind thing.
I got you, man.
No, you made a claim about legs.
I got it.
Show us an alligator doesn't have legs.
I got it, brother.
Pupil dilation is evidence.
I got it, guys. Hold on a second. I'll get to you. Cyril, I appreciate you coming. Okay, man. I'm gonna move on. Thank you.
What?
I'm gonna move on. Thank you for coming. Okay.
It feels like we kind of didn't get.
Yeah, I know. I'm really lost in not being able to support your claims. All right.
Pupil dilation is information gain. That's evidence. That's all I wanted to say.
What do you mean? Who didn't pupil? What started pupil dilating? What do you mean? I'm lost. Give me that.
How humans' pupils dilate is evidence of information gain.
Where did
had done an undergraduate level biology course?
I'm great. Thank you for the insults. You're saying that we have humans that don't dilate? Where's the evidence that humans didn't have pupils that dilated? Again, you're doing an inference. I don't need long ago and far away.
You're just not uneducated.
I know.
Read a book, bro.
Okay, I'll go read. Thank you for coming up. I appreciate your time. Okay. Again, you're using evidence that you can't test and observe. You just said that we didn't have it in the past and now we have it now. Give me the evidence.
I mean,
saying words
off the Bible.
I know, man. I like I said, but I'm not trying to be rude to you in any way, shape, or form. But you're not getting it, and that's not me trying to be disrespectful. But you made a claim, and now you're talking about alligators coming from snakes or something like that. So I can give you an example to help you. Let me give you
said that Noah had a kind on
I know.
this boat, right?
Yeah, and I can.
These 2 original reptiles.
I know, brother. I am trying so hard not to be rude to you, but the conversation has left. We've done all we can with you. No disrespect. You're not bringing me any information, okay? So let's see. We got. Hold on a second, brother. You were in here last. You're not going to come up first. Old Latino, what's up, man? You doing all right?
Hi, how are you?
Doing good,
just
brother.
praying for you, bro. Sure, a lot of maybe it would help if you just told them, instead of talking about all the stuff that they've been indoctrinated in the middle, where is the beginning? So go back to the soup, go back to the original amoeba cell, whatever you wanted to go back to. Where is the cell that makes another cell? It's bumping in 2 equal cells, 2 same cells, bumping into each other, and makes another one. Where is it?
Yeah,
Nothing happened. Never has happened, never will happen. That's all I'm saying, brother.
Yeah.
Praying for you.
Appreciate it. Yeah, this indoctrination is hard, man. And I know they say the same thing about a religion, but when I ask for evidence that's testable and observable, he gives me snakes and alligators. It's not testable and observable. We don't observe that. We can't test that. That you're just inferring that happened long ago and far away.
And they think that that's science. No, science is able to recreate something. If in science is the study of, that's your hypothesis. What's your hypothesis? How can you recreate it? Can I recreate this and show you that this is what I discovered? No, you can't.
No, I feel like here's what I was asking, right, specifically about.
No, you know what? I'm sorry. What you're doing is nitpicking something. And what he's asking you is something specific. He's asking you from the beginning. Start from the beginning, not from a verse in the Bible that you were taught or lectured on how you're going to catch the Christian. Start from the beginning.
What?
Be an adult. Aren't we an adult? Aren't you trying to have an adult conversation?
I mean, I feel like I've been pretty genuine this whole time.
I don't. I feel that you've been very disingenuous, but that's fine. It's a matter of my opinion and a matter of your opinion. Start from the beginning.
Okay. So this is me asking. This is me more asking about, like, from your perspective, right?
Okay.
About the kind thing.
Mm-hmm.
If there were 2 reptiles, right, on Noah's boat, and eventually it led to all these different types of reptiles, like what you're saying, microevolution.
Thank you.
How did the snake lose its legs? How did the alligator have legs?
That's not what it teaches, right? It's not the kind as in a reptile kind. It's that whatever the base kind of animal is, like alligators, crocodiles, and like the other alligators with the really skinny noses or whatever, they have the really sharp teeth, of the caiman, something like that. Also, the caiman, the alligator, and the crocodile are probably the same kind of animal, right? So Noah didn't have to have a caiman, an alligator, and a crocodile on the ark. You only had to have one of those. And from the crocodile, you can get the alligator. And from the alligator, you can get the caiman. And from the caiman, you could probably get the little needle nose alligator they're talking about, because it's literally just the shapes of their mouths, right? It's really.
Well, how do we, as they adapt to where they live and as they adapt to their diet,
yeah, so
you will see those small changes. But just like you were mentioning earlier about a mountain lion and your cat, well, does your cat have retractable claws? Does your cat land and have an amazing balance? You're telling me that your cat has no characteristics that are similar to a mountain lion or a full-size lion?
Yeah,
that's the thing
they've been
I'm a little
domesticated.
confused about. It's like, how come? Because we can agree that a lion and, like, my house cat, sure, they have these baseline similarities, but they also have these huge differences. Kind of like a snake and alligator, where they both have scales. They're both, like, cold-blooded.
But we don't believe.
They're still different.
We believe
you're
that.
Talking about 2 reptiles that are actually entirely different.
We believe that
Is
cats.
the Christian gonna get yelled at for saying, "Are we adults?"
Oh my gosh.
Just wondering.
We believe that cats.
Is the host gonna scold the Christian for
Are
saying,
you
"Are we
going to
adults?"
get off my stage? Dude, stop. It's
Alligators actually, they consume their meals completely.
Why do the Christians get to say, "Aren't we adults?"
me,
without getting yelled?
Let me block
Well,
this
are
guy
you
real
an
quick. I
adult?
apologize.
Can you shut up for a moment?
Yeah, I'm just wondering why the double standard.
It's not a double standard, Einstein. He didn't say that to me. He said it to him. So if he wants, hold on, guy. If he wants to say something that he says, hey, that's fine. He's an adult. He can take up for himself. I don't need to take up for somebody else. When you said it to me is what I was taking up for me. I don't need to take up for somebody else. So frustrating. It's like these. All right. So
I love you, man. I'll keep praying for you, bro.
All right, brother. I
Great
appreciate.
job. I'm sorry I
Are
don't
you
have
good,
the
man?
patience you do. You're doing a great job.
Yeah, it's
Ask the question.
My patience are getting tested today. So yeah, brother, you can ask a question.
I'm Christian. I've read the Bible 50 million times.
Okay.
I've studied other religions. I believe in God. I've died twice already. I was in the army. I've died twice. I've seen things that are way out of this world. But what evidence do we have as Christians that evolution is fake? It's just, are we just going off of what's in the Bible?
Great.
Or what are we going off of that evolution didn't happen? Because what evidence do we have that it didn't happen?
I got you.
You know, what evidence do we have? And I'm not trying to be an a-hole. I'm asking because I'm curious.
That's a great question.
But what evidence do we have that the flood happened? Because throughout history, other
I got you,
cultures
TG.
have talked about a flood.
Let's have it. Hold on, man. Hold on.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I got you. The only reason I'm saying that, I'm not trying to interrupt you, is because you've asked two different questions now. And
I have ADHD. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, you're good. I just want to stay on one topic at a time, or we get lost, right? So let's do the evolution one, and then we'll go to the flood one. Okay. So the question is kind of an argument from silence. It would be asking me to disprove evolution. Well, I'm not the one claiming evolution, so it wouldn't be on me to disprove. But what I would have to see, evolution, if I believe in micro, obviously changes within the same genetic kind. That's God put within the code. But what we don't see is genetic information gain. So let me define that very quickly. I've already done it once, but let me do it again for those individuals maybe coming in.
Part of that.
Are you good? That's fine. That's fine. So genetic information gain would have to be genetic, because you got to be able to pass it on to your children. If you had a mutation that caused something, you got to be able to pass it on. So it's got to be genetic. Information as far as new structures, new code, new DNA, and new function, that would be information. And then it obviously has to be gained from something that wasn't there before, or it wouldn't be evolution, right? So if we went from a single-celled organism to a fully functional human, anyone would agree that you had to have genetic information gained there. So in the history of the world, they always, and this is why I do this is what I try to get people to understand, they always infer that long ago and far away we have information gained, but it's never testable and observable today. Just like every example that someone's giving me today is something that happened in the past that we can't test and observe. Now, one of the things that I like to use is bacteria. I'll get to you. Let me finish, okay? And let me finish on my man right here. If it's on topic, it butt in a little bit, but let's keep it on topic, okay? One of the things that I like to bring up is bacteria, because bacteria can have 9 generations in a single day, and it takes them millions of years away from the evolutionist. So why is it that we do these long-running evolutionary experiments like the Linsky experiment? Why is it every time you ask for evidence from an evolutionist that's not millions of years ago or long ago and far away, that's not inferred, they'll either give you an example of microevolution, dogs turning into dogs, just smaller or taller. I'm gonna mute you up, Brandon. You got a lot of background noise. Or they'll give you an example of degradation and then claim that that's evolution. And like what we see in the evolution of the bacteria is we see degradation. And I think you would agree with me that you can't keep losing information and then claiming that that's evolution.
No, then you end up with nothing. I mean, you keep losing information, you're not evolving, you're digressing, I guess. That doesn't make any sense.
So my standard is very simple. Show me an example of genetic information gain that's not inferred, something that we can test and observe, because again, you don't need millions and millions of years for bacteria, because we have literally simulated 1 million years worth of evolution in the Linsky experiment, and what we're getting is degraded information. Thank you, DOA. So
we're just guessing at this point. Honestly, it's just a bunch of theories and guesses.
Right.
We don't have any evidence, right?
Yeah, nobody's ever brought me evidence.
Quick.
What you got?
What I think about evolution is, let me ask you, TG, is when you talk about evolution, are you saying we came from other different types of species that evolved?
Oh, you're asking what my definition of evolution?
Yes. I need to understand.
I have to tell you, I have seen things that a lot of people won't see until they die. So for me, I see things way differently than a regular person would. I've passed away twice. I died once on the battlefield, and they brought me back to life. And then I died in a car accident, and I was dead for a minute and 15 seconds. But for me, it was a week of time. So
crooks every night.
I don't want to say any. To me, it's just I was asking what he was talking about because I had just kind of jumped in, so I wanted to know. But I don't really have a definition of evolution because I've seen things much more differently than regular people do. So I don't know what evolution is. I don't know, honestly. I don't know what it is.
But what you're saying with seeing things, that's subjective because anybody could see the exact
I got
same
you,
thing.
Jason. You got like what are you wanting to add to it?
I was just saying, like, evolution as is, worldly known, that people that believe that humans thrive through evolution is that we came from a different set of species. They would say apes in general context and whatsoever. And my theory is, if we came through apes or evolution through apes, then the world had to become it's also part of evolution. So then you ask, how did the earth begin? And you would have to come up with different theories that will be in an infinity loop. And I'll give you an example. So if we came from evolution from apes, what did the apes come from evolution from? And you go so on and so on and so on. And you will never have a beginning because you don't have an endpoint in the general context of what evolution is. Evolution can be infinity.
Well, that means that's what they believe.
It would not be possible.
That's what they believe. They believe they believe two things, and one of the things they're kind of getting away from, but some people still believe in it. So they either believe the something from nothing argument, but that's kind of a minority thing now. Most of them believe that it is eternal. So that wouldn't help your argument none, because that's what they do believe that. They believe that it's eternal.
I mean, I don't know why it would be God, right? Because God is eternal.
I mean, it's not true, but I mean that's what they believe. I think that's a ridiculous argument. Nothing can last forever, obviously, unless you are a deity or something outside of time, space, and matter, obviously.
Exactly.
All right, so TG, you also asked me for evidence of the flood. So we see hydrologic sorting all over the planet, right? On the flood model, I can make a prediction right now that if you're standing somewhere on dry ground that's obviously not bedrock, that you could take a core sample of wherever you're at and you're going to see different layers in it. And those layers, strata. It's literally hydrologic sorting. Brandon, you got a lot of background noise, man. You got to take care of that, brother, because it's just Brandon. Yeah, you've got a lot of background noise. So the Brandon guy.
I'd like to chime in when I get a chance. You get a chance, please.
Sure. So hydrologic sorting's all over the planet. So that we see this in a flood. Now, they're going to tell you that this is slow sediment layers over millions and millions of years. There's a couple of things that we can know that that's not true. One, we see bent strata at the end of Psalms when it says the mountains arose and the valley sank down, meaning that, when the valley sank down and the mountains arose at the end of Psalms, when it talks about the flood, we can make some predictions on this too. If a mountain, if you have these catastrophic events, plate tectonics that happen very quickly, we would make some predictions that these strata are going to get bent. They're all wet at the same time. So this is how you see curved and bent strata, right? You can't have strata that sit there and curves and bends without it breaking, obviously, unless it's all mushy and wet at the same time. Take a thing of Pringles, grab them, put them all together, and then try to bend them and see what happens. Clearly, you're going to break them. Well, if they're millions and millions of years apart, then this layer that's down here can't be bent with this layer up here, because this layer down here should already be rock, because millions and millions of years have already passed. And you can just look up bent and curved strata. You see some really crazy bent and curved strata. Secondly, you have polystrata fossils. So these layers can't be millions of years old because you have fossils that go right up in between them. We know how these are formed because we saw them on Mount St. Helens when it blew the trees into Spirit Lake. And then lastly, I would say it would make some predictions about bone beds, like fossilized bone beds, like the Hells Creek Formation, that goes from like the upper part of Texas all the way up into Canada. And this is just one dinosaur bone bed. And obviously these fossil formations are all over the planet. So there's more than enough evidence for a worldwide flood.
Oh, I hear you. I'm sorry.
What if it was multiple local floods?
Well, I mean, the evidence would be similar to that. I understand, but why would there be a need for multiple? Well, the same layer of like a volcanic ash wouldn't be all over the planet, and that is, we have layers that are literally all over the planet at the same layer.
Well, volcanoes can blow
that would take us into
for miles and miles away.
Yeah, brother, it could,
that would just take us into a bunch of speculation.
Mm-hmm.
He's just presenting the ideal that there's evidence of floods and trying to establish that as a point.
But if
I'm presenting the idea,
Brandon,
volcanoes can blow the material for miles and miles.
Brandon,
but
listen, Brandon, hold on, guys. Hold on a second. I got it. But the level, right? The same layer. If these were separate floods, you wouldn't have the same layer all over the planet. Then you would have to argue that the floods happened above the layer, and then I would say if all of these floods were separate, right? Then the chances of none of them going in below that layer would be kind of weird, right? So I think this is more evidence for a worldwide flood.
Same layers with the same chemical composition?
According to them, yeah.
Or are they different compositions?
According to them, it's the same layer. I mean, I'm not going to claim that I got out and tested it myself, but according to them, it's the same layer.
Same layer. It's the same chemical composition and everything?
According to them, brother, like I said, I don't want to say something that's not accurate because I'm not the one testing it. But according to them, it's the same layer all over the planet.
So you don't really know, so you can't present it as fact. You can just speculate.
All right. Do you have any evidence that there's not a worldwide flood? I've made the claim that there is one. I think I've presented plenty enough evidence. Do you have any evidence that there wasn't a worldwide flood?
Historians mostly agree that there's probably a worldwide flood.
Hold on, Brandon.
Well, they do because of something called snowball Earth that happened thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago. That happened during one of the ice ages, where the entire planet possibly got covered in ice. So you're right about that, but that is scientific. That's not about religion.
Wait, so you're talking about ice age? Right.
Yeah, during one of the ice ages, something happened and the entire planet was encased in ice for a while.
Well, not the entire planet, right? You still had the equator that wasn't.
No, the entire planet, because water freezes too. I mean.
Okay. Well, yeah, man. Well, thank you for bringing that up. Okay, Brandon?
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, appreciate it. I can't see your name. Hackham?
Oh, can I ask this quick question?
Sure, man. What you got?
Yeah, this is about creation, and I'm getting ready to expose my comprehension, how good or how bad it is.
All right.
The fowl in the beginning of creation, the fowl of the air, were they created from rain?
Created from rain? No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that just makes sense. How were the animals created? We know the Adam and Eve were created from the dirt. How were animals created? That's a good point.
Yeah, some of them were created, if I'm not mistaken, from water. Hold on, let me look it up. Where was the...
I'm speaking about just
to call something a creation, you have to necessarily prove that it was created, and a creation is created using pre-existing material. So what pre-existing material was there?
Well, obviously, Brandon, we believe in a deity called God. So that would be outside. There was no pre-existing material until he spoke it into existence. So naturally, I could.
All right. So it's not a creation.
It's not a creation. Him literally, him creating material from no material is not creation.
Well, mentioned that Adam was created from dust.
There was no pre-existing material.
I know that's why we say it was a deity. I openly admit that's a miracle. I couldn't prove scientifically that God created matter from no matter, but
then how can you?
It's clearly. How can I what now?
How can you prove anything from the Bible?
Well, nobody could prove anything if you want to have a statement like that, but there's a dichotomy, right? So the dichotomy is either evolution or deity. And when I don't, I see evidence for deity. I don't see any evidence for evolution.
I have a question about evolution too.
I feel like evolution and God can definitely coexist, right?
Not the God of the Bible. And again, it depends on how you define.
That's just assuming we got everything right in the Bible.
Right.
There's
but then if we got it,
follow with physics and chemistry and biology. So there are things that can be understood of developments, but there's a difference between what the theory of evolution claims and what you find with those laws.
I mean, I feel like evolution is more proof of God.
If you, birds were made on day 5, and Genesis 1:20 and 21. God created birds on the 5th day of creation. So Genesis 1:25. I'll go there for you.
But the question is how.
Yeah, we're not going to know how of everything. We don't know, for instance, how we go from Genesis.
I got you. I got you, brother.
I would say evolution is false because.
Hold on, brother. I got you.
Let him go ahead and do what he did.
My man asked me a question. Let me answer for him really quick because he said he's got to go. And God said, "Let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creature that have life, and the fowl that may fly above the earth in the open firmament." So there would appear that God made the birds from water.
Okay, my brother. Okay, appreciate you.
Yeah, man.
All living creatures have water involved.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't prove God did that, obviously, but that's classified as a miracle. So
that water is part of the human or biological makeup.
Yeah. All right. So, Mudify, if I'm saying your name right, Mudfly, there it is. I didn't see the rest of your name. Mudfly, you've been in here, Comcorn Collective. What do you got, brother? Mudfly, you still there, man? If you are, you got to hit the little mic button because you're muted up, okay?
Yep.
There we go. Now you're muted again. You unmuted and then you muted. Oh, okay. He's trying to get somewhere he can get a lot of background noise. So while he's looking for that, I'm gonna tell everybody, because I'm used to hosting a room to where I have a lot of people come in. But I will say this: I do appreciate all the support that I'm getting. But I'm probably going to have to start moving away from just the open rooms and start going to a more fixed thing, because I spend more time on here now that I'm getting bigger, and I do appreciate the support and everybody allowing me to get big. I'm going to still try to keep it open somewhat, but I do spend more time cycling through knuckleheads that don't want to have good conversations or being silly or coming up here and, saying stupid words or anything, trying to get me kicked off. That because I'm getting larger, I'm probably going to have to restrict it a little bit more. So to everyone that enjoys my content, that the regulars that come up, I don't want y'all to think that I'm doing anything different and not allowing y'all to come up. When I see you and I have room, I will definitely allow you to come up. Don't get it twisted. But just the open where everybody's able to join themselves, because I'm getting a little bit larger, I'm probably going to have to stop doing that, because I spend more time kicking off knuckleheads and interrupting people and trying to keep things on track than I do actually having good conversations anymore. I kind of knew that if I ever got bigger, I was going to have to, but it is what it is.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So a lot of trolls out there that just want to mess with people.
Yeah.
It's just not possible to accommodate everybody.
Yeah.
It's not practical.
Mudfly, did you get to a spot yet, brother?
Yeah, like 2 minutes.
2 minutes. All right. I got you. 2 minutes. In the meantime, Hackham, what's your viewpoints, man? You sound like Christian.
No, I'm a Muslim.
Oh, you're Muslim.
We have a common denominator of believing in creation. And a lot of times people try to challenge that and say to believe in creation is not intellectual. And we can dialogue and see how much evidence there is for evolution and what concept is more plausible. An idea of creation that has scientific elements, no doubt, because if we observe nature and we see the laws that are involved, indeed that's science. But to say that existence have some type of role that it is dictating all of this design without any intelligence involved is not plausible.
Yeah. You can be I'm going to say Christian, obviously, but you can be a Christian and not believe. You can be a Christian and still believe in evolution. It's not like a salvation thing. I just think that there's no reason not to believe in it, right? So there's plenty of Christians out there that
I challenge
believe.
the idea of those who say that, for instance, human beings come from primates and that we're fundamentally animals. That we hold that the human species is an honored species that has been designated by God to do the functions that he's doing and is responsible for his behaviors and has all of these abilities and talents for a reason.
So
I feel like
God
you
is
lose an argument immediately.
God is.
Hold on. Say it again, Cyril. You feel like what?
I feel like you kind of like lose it immediately if you try to view it as creationist versus evolution. I feel like, I mean, we're all just men, right? We don't know the true like facets of the universe, right?
Right, but here's
evolution can be, creation. It can be both. I don't know why these things are so separated from each other.
Sure. So let me answer that. So the reason why is because, again, let me put this caveat out there. You can believe in evolution and be a Christian, but it's not about salvation. But then again, at the same time, you have to believe that the Bible's wrong. So in my opinion, even though I don't hold to that, I would ask people, how can you be a Christian and not believe what the Bible says? Why do you believe the Jesus part is true and not the Genesis part is true? Some people do, and it's not my place to tell, I tell them they're wrong, but it's not my place to tell them their faith. Their faith is their faith. I can't force them what to believe. But the reason why the Bible and evolution don't go hand in hand is because they diametrically oppose each other. For example, the Bible says that the sun was made after the earth. Evolution says the exact opposite. Evolution teaches that the sun was here before the plants. The Bible says that the plants were made on day 3 and the sun was made on day 4. Evolution teaches that reptiles went into birds. The Bible says that the birds were made before the reptiles. Reptiles wasn't made until on day 6 with man. Birds were made before that on day 5. So the birds come first and then the reptiles. Evolution is the exact opposite. Evolution teaches that millions of things had to unalive before a monkey could eventually mutate into man for Adam to get here. But the Bible teaches that nothing unalived until Adam sinned. So again, it's not a salvation issue, but it is a question of who's wrong, because both of those statements cannot both be true. Mudfly, welcome back, man.
Yeah, I'm good now. Oh, wait, so I just want to so what is your view on how do fossils get into the ground? What is your view on that?
How do fossils form? Rapid sediment burial. It cuts off oxygen content.
So how do you think that, so do you think that animals existed before Adam and Eve?
No. Well, I mean, a couple of days. I mean, I wouldn't say any time period. Obviously, they were made on a day before Adam and Eve. So if you say some of them existed before man, technically all of them existed before man because they weren't made. But if I get the gist of your question, you're not being so literal, like they existed long before man got here. I would say that's not true.
Yeah, but we know they weren't. They got there before. Also, the other guy, the Syria guy, was wrong. Crocodilians are more closely related to birds than they are to snakes.
I got
and
you.
We can see in snakes. We can see how they used to have legs. We can see, like, you know why? Do you know why whales have lungs?
So they can breathe.
Yeah, they can breathe, but they used to be on land. They were land creatures, and then they evolved to. Because if you think about it, if God created whales, wouldn't you think it'd be pretty stupid to give him a pure disadvantage by making him have to go up for air every single time? No, it's because they slowly evolved to do that, and then they can hold their breath for a super long period of time and go like deep, and then go get like.
Yeah, and it's a perfect design. The whales don't mind it at all. Why you act like it's a problem?
Whales don't mind it. What do you mean? It would be way more advantageous for them.
That's not true. You're just looking at evidence, and then you're coming to a conclusion on it.
We can see how they have ligaments in the back of their legs, in the back of
whales.
Their tails. We can
whales
see
don't have legs.
There's no use for them except that they're
I got it.
Leftovers. You can say from.
No, it's not. That's not true at all. That's an
why are they there? Why are they there?
They do have. Which one are you talking about? Are you talking about the quote legs? Because that's what mudfly. Take a break. Take a breath. I got you. So just don't throw 16 million things out there. So we're chasing rabbits because you said a lot of claims. So you said something about legs, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you believe the whale had legs or has legs? Okay. So here. All right. So here it is. There's only two options to this, and there's only two. The person who told you that either lied to you or they're ignorant on whale anatomy. Those are not.
No one told me this. I researched this.
Okay, then whoever wrote the paper or whatever's telling you, it is either they are ignorant on whale anatomy or it's a lie.
Just give me a counter argument. You're not really.
Sure. So that I'm trying to. So if you just take a break for a second. So you have the legs are not vestigial. Those are anchor points for the whale's anatomy. They're reproductive organs attached to that what you call used to be legs. So what they do is they see a fully functional bone. They're anchor points. They're not vestigial. And then the scientists, or the evolutionists, I should say, not scientists, because scientists are respectable people, but evolutionists, what they do is they say, wait a minute, we have a fish that breathes air. It's a mammal. We got a problem because it's supposed to go fish, amphibian, reptile, mini mammal.
Call it a whale's fish. Where are you getting this from?
Wait, do you not believe mammals?
All right.
If I may, Mudfly.
All right, hold on.
How are you doing, Mudfly? Because I'm picking up on a couple of things from you. Do you have a little, and I don't mean this disrespectful at all, but I'm saying this because I'm a teacher. Do you have a little ADHD? It's okay. Hey, some of the smartest people I know have got ADHD, okay? So, and some of the smartest people I know are on the spectrum. Let me help William explain to you why this is a little bit difficult to believe. Because the way you would be trying to do that would be through carbon. Hold on, darling, because I promise you I'm a teacher and I teach biology. So we've already ciphered that carbon dating is only good for about 40 to 50,000 years at best, and it starts to degrade.
Perfect. Okay.
Hold on, baby. I'm just trying to help you, okay? Hold on, and then I will turn you loose, okay? Just breathe for me, okay? I know you're excited. I know you want to get it out, and I want you to get it out, okay? Because like I said, some of the smartest people I know
I'm just passionate about this subject.
Hold on. I know you are. I love that you're passionate. Hold on just a second because I'm trying to help you. So carbon dating, we've recently found out, is only good for about 40 to 50,000 years. And I know that's not the answer that you want, but honey, that's an actual factual statement. So how can we go back 40 to 50 million years and say that whales have legs? It's not mathematically something we can prove. And something I was studying earlier today. Wait a minute. I promise you I will turn you loose. Can I just have 2 minutes and I will turn you loose? Okay?
Yeah.
I'm trying to help you, okay? I'm trying to help you, but I'm also trying to build a bridge. So I was looking into some stuff today when I was on my break. Because I used to say that I had pretty good conversations with atheists. And I got in a brawl with one today. I mean, a knockdown, drag out brawl. And here's the thing. Science cannot disprove God. I work for Duke University. Okay, I work for one of the biggest universities. I said, "Whoa, darling, talk to me like I'm your mama. When I get finished, you can talk."
If you just let her get it out, it won't take so long.
And I'll turn you loose. But I guarantee you, we cannot prove that whales had legs because we don't have the type of data that we would need, because we don't have anything that's sure-footed enough to go back 40 to 50 million years. We just don't have it. I'm not saying it ain't going to exist in 20 years. Right now, we just simply don't have it. And as far as a disproof of God, science has to remain neutral. We've been fighting about this crap all day. Like, I went toe-to-toe with a couple of atheists, and they had to concede. And there was only one of me, and there was 6 of them in the room today. And I'm like, I guarantee you I got bigger PhD britches than you do. And I'm not trying to be a BITCH, but hold the hell on. We cannot disprove God. I hate to tell you. I spent 2 hours today trying to disprove it. And guess what? We can't do it. We can't do it. Not today.
Yeah, but you guys can't prove it either. Because let me tell you why. Because science is based on facts and observations.
Hell, I'm gonna turn it on. I'm gonna turn it up so I can
based
hear
on
you.
faith. Well, religion is based on faith and personal experience.
Let him talk.
Hold on, guys. Let him go.
Okay, so the reason why you said carbon dating. You're talking about carbon dating. No, there's multiple types of radiometric dating. There's argon and radion dating. There's uranium lead dating. Uranium lead dating can be backed over on 600 million years. So that's how we use that. But the thing is with uranium lead dating is that you can't really
guys, let him finish.
You can only get a range. But with carbon dating, you're able to get a precise amount between those 660,000 years. So we use other different kinds of radiometric dating.
Guys, let him finish. Let him finish. Please don't interrupt him. Let him finish. Now, we told him not to interrupt her.
Go
ahead, baby. Go ahead.
And you're talking about how religion can't. Okay, so you're saying science can't disprove. It can't disprove God, but you can't prove God either.
But you're
basing all your claims off of faith and off of faith. You can't. You're just no observational facts that they exist. So that's why it's so hard to argue against God with science.
Let me answer you. So I'm new to being a Christian. My husband was a Christian, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I believe every single word in the Bible, because I am a scientist. But I will say this, honey. Science can't prove it, and it can't disprove it. I spent 2 hours today of my own time, and I get paid $150 an hour to prove it or disprove it.
Yeah, but we can disprove.
Wait a minute. What did I tell you? Whoa.
Yeah, sorry.
Thank you, darling. And moving forward, you can refer to me as Professor Hughes, okay? Just so we got it. All right. So anyway, so we can't prove it and we can't disprove it. That's the thing. We can't do it right now. Now, I'm 90 days away from retirement, and that's going to be the next thing that I'm going to delve off into. I am really going to take a hardcore look of what can we prove and what can't we prove. And perhaps a year from now, we can have a very intellectual conversation. And it's not about it's not about trying to prove the truth. Go ahead, baby. Say what you want to say, because I want you to get it out. Because I do think you're an intelligent guy.
We're trying to disprove your claims based on your faith, which is by your book, your Bible. So we're trying to disprove stuff that are based in that book. No, we can't. God is just it's just a very broad term.
Okay.
We're talking about so many different things.
All right. Let me. I got you.
Okay. Hinduism is your oldest religion, right? Right?
Yeah.
So I'm with you. So stay with me, okay? Okay. So. But that still believes in a God, right? Believes in several of them.
Yeah.
I can't disprove any of them either.
Sounds like you guys are on the same page.
All right, so let me.
Not on the same page.
Because God is something else that cannot. It's out of the subject of science.
I got you. Listen,
William, I tap out. William wants to take over. So I'm gonna let William take over.
You're good. I don't have much more time. Hold on one second. Hold on 1 second. So, like I said, I wanted to take this small bites at a time. So let me go back to the original. Is I know that when we said fish, I get it. The problem is evolution needs a reason as to why you have mammals back in water. So they're trying to come up with that evidence, and that's why they say things like.
No, we're not coming up with evidence.
Let me just mute y'all. Let me just mute y'all until I can finish saying what I'm saying. Once I get it out, then you can respond to it. Okay. But you can't respond to it until I get it out. Okay. So you're saying that whales have legs, and they say that it used to come from Ambulocetus. All right. I would encourage you to go look at what bones they actually found of Ambulocetus, and then the imagination that goes out for that. Ambulocetus is the one, like the cow animal that evolved and started to evolve back into the whale. What I am telling you is that's a lie. They're not vestigial structures. They didn't used to be legs. There's no evidence for that. They're evidence that they have function. And the function is that they're anchor point for the whale's reproductive organs.
Because so they can take advantage of it. But we can do the same thing with humans, like our wisdom teeth, tailbones, and
that's
have you seen the gill marks?
I was hoping you were going to bring up the tailbone.
Wait,
I was waiting for you to bring up the coccyx.
Wait, hold on. I got you right there. What did you just say about gill marks?
On our ears.
Stop talking.
On humans, you can see them. Some humans have marks on the ears because we know that you can see in embryos when you do like what's it called the thing that's doing with like for pregnant people, like where they you can see on the embryo.
Right.
You can see gill marks on their embryo.
All right. So here's
direct evidence that we know that they used to have gills.
Okay. That's
baby?
Hold on. Nope. Everybody stop right now, because I got something, Mudfly, that I really want to show you, and I do not want it to be interrupted, because here's my thing, brother. That is a lie. The guy who made this up admitted that he lied. He was placed on trial at his university, was found guilty for lying at his university. And guess what, brother? That lie was over 150 years ago, and you just brought it up in this live today. Okay, so the guy that you're referring to that told you that these are human gill slits. Hold on, wait a minute. Let me flip this camera around and we can have a conversation, because this right here is not negotiable. This is a known lie, and it's getting parroted to this day. And I'm going to show you. I'm going to flip it around here. Okay, so this is one of the studies that I do. His name is Ernest Haeckel. These are the drawings that you're referring to with the quote unquote gill slits with the little bumps there, right?
Yeah, well, it wasn't based on a drawing. I saw pictures of it.
Yeah, right. So here we go. This is Ernest Haeckel's drawings, and he's showing you that in the earliest embryonic stages that these all resemble a fish. This one's a fish. This one's a salamander. This one's a turtle, a chicken, a hare. I think this one is a calf, a rabbit, and a man. The man's on the end. Right? So this is Haeckel's drawings. He did this, back in 1860, if I'm not mistaken, right? Here's the actual photos taken in 1997. This one's the human. This one's the fish. This one's the salamander. Now look here, brother. They don't look nothing like the drawings. These little slits that you're saying right here on the side. Those
you're trying to simplify it.
No, he's not trying to simplify. He actually admitted that he lied. That's not simplifying it. That's a liar. And we shouldn't say that when somebody, here's my thing, right? You can believe what you want, but if you bring up something, or you know that you're lying about something in an effort to get your theory pushed, that's a liar. We shouldn't say that he's simplifying it. We should say you're lying. Here's the human.
You just got it wrong.
No, he didn't get it wrong. He made it. Guys, why are you? This is so ridiculous to me. This guy admitted that he lied. Stop talking. Stop talking. This guy admitted that he lied. He was placed on trial by his university, found guilty, and y'all are taking up for him because you don't have any evidence for evolution. So you're going to be like, well, maybe he got it. Maybe he messed it up.
That's one thing that doesn't explain the tailbone. Doesn't explain wisdom teeth.
Right. Guys, on my mama, if anybody else talks other than Mudfly in the next 2 minutes, I'm kicking you. Okay, because I'm trying to get to this right here. Y'all are interrupting by saying it's okay that this man lied. We need the evidence for evolution. It's perfectly fine. He's a liar. He made this up. And he converted half of the German population into evolution because he had a known lie. This is a lie. Here are the pictures. These are not fish gill slits. Never was. They are not. They have a function. They don't resemble gill fish slits. They're not gill slits. So stop lying and using that for evidence of evolution. Now,
yes.
when you
get past that.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you. I appreciate that. So your next claim, what was the other thing? I'm sorry, I got interrupted and forgot what you said.
Let's start with this one. Well, tell me what the evolutionary advantage is for wisdom teeth.
Oh, thank you. That was it. Wisdom teeth and tailbones. Thank you. That's what we call a vestigial structure, Mudfly. That would be, even if it was, right? First of all, I have my wisdom teeth, and the advantage is I chew with them and I eat food. So it's not a disadvantage to have wisdom teeth. I have wisdom teeth. Now,
because most people, you're an exception. Most people have to get them removed.
I get it. I get it. Okay. That would still be, even if I granted you that would be an example of losing information, not gaining it. First of all, our tailbone is not vestigial, our appendix is not vestigial, and our wisdom teeth are not vestigial. So that's a lie that they're not vestigial. They have functions.
Tell me if they're not. Tell me the evidence that they are not. Because you have
Yeah. Okay.
You have the burden of proof. Because
Fine. Fair enough. I can't.
You're making the point.
Fair enough. The appendix is part of the immune system. It helps fight off disease. There's that. The tailbone is not a monkey's tail. It has anchor points for muscles for your reproductive organs. If you think it's vestigial, then go to a doctor and have him remove it, and your love life is going to drastically fall because you're not going to be able to complete some functions because those muscles attached to those tailbone. So it's not vestigial. There you go for that one. Wisdom teeth, like I said, people have wisdom. Some people don't. It's not.
Baby, it's not. We never had tails, honey. We never had tails.
Oh my God!
It's not vestigial.
Lucy, the fossil that we found.
Yes, baby, I'm aware.
Yeah. Are you?
How do you explain that? It's past Adam and Eve. How do you explain that?
Sure.
That we find humanoid fossils,
brother.
That are before.
Hold on, I get it. I get it. I get you. I get you, man. And she brought it out. I didn't recognize it. Harlow did. So I'm giving you a little bit more leeway because you said you got some ADHD and you're on the spectrum there, and that's not me. I'm trying to give you a little more leeway, but we're jumping to section to section to section. And it feels like I'm just knocking down stuff instead of us having a conversation, right? Because we jump from vestigial structures. So I want you to understand before we move on, that would be losing information, right? Even if I granted it and said, of course, these have a function, but let's just pretend for a second that they don't have any function and we are slowly losing them. Well, that would be information lost. That's not evolution. You can't keep saying that we're losing information and therefore we evolved from a single cell organism. It's still losing information. That's not evolving. That's devolving.
Do you know what evolution is?
Yes.
Hold on, Mudfly, just for a second, because you're so excited. Hold on, baby. Hold on, baby. Hold on.
It's called
hold on just a second. I promise. Let me help you. Breathe for me, okay? This is not the only time that you're going to get to talk to William. He will let you back on a panel, okay? So if you want to take a minute and if you want to breathe, he just said he's going to be on all week. Take some notes, okay? Take some, and I do this oftentimes when I'm in these religious lives myself as a scientist. Take some notes. Go back and do a little bit of research.
It's because I'm worried about this.
Hold on, honey. Hold on. Because one thing I've never seen William do is attack somebody. So this is a safe space for you to have this conversation. So I want you to know that, okay? You can have this chat here, but take some notes, breathe, take another look at what you want to talk about, and maybe let's talk about it on another day because you're just getting upset. And you are very smart. I can pick up on the fact. I would love to have you in one of my classes, and that would be the exact advice that I would give you. Take a breath, write it down, think about it, and let's talk about it tomorrow.
Can I ask what grade teacher you are? Are you?
Yeah, I've got a PhD. I teach in college.
Okay. Okay.
I'm trying to retire. So I'm trying to retire.
Yeah.
So what do you
say you're teaching? Biology?
I teach biology.
You're a biology professor.
I am, but I'm trying to retire really hard.
But no, because it seems that you don't know what you're talking about. Because you said
I don't know what I'm talking about.
But there's other things other than carbonating.
I got you.
You obviously don't know about uranium.
Mudfly.
It's okay. Okay, so
I got you.
I'm not offended by that. You can question me. It's good for you to question me.
I got you. I got you. Hold on. Take a breath. So I got you on that. I didn't want to, I don't want to keep chasing rabbits, Mudfly. I can answer all your questions, I promise you. But the problem is again, I'm just swatting them. So I'll go through it really quickly because I got a whole study on this. But every radiometric dating technique, you have to assume the parent material in it to begin with. That's a problem. If you don't know how much was in it, you don't know how much. No, you don't. Yeah. No, you don't. How do you know? You have to assume the parent material. How do you know how much was in it when it unalived?
How do you know gold's gold? What?
Mudfly, how do you know how much parent material was in it when it was unalived?
how you know how much parent material?
Yep, you don't. You have to assume.
The size of the fossil.
No, it's not the size. So let me give you an example, okay?
So you're saying all of these fossils are just random coincidence? We see the same type of fossil in other places. So you know how
mud flat, brother. I'm gonna mute you up, okay? I don't want to be disrespectful. Now we're going to fossils, okay? I want to do one topic at a time, please, okay? Please.
And William, I'm done saving him. So Edie,
I got you.
I'm done saving
I'm gonna
him.
be.
Well, you're doing the same thing because you're saying
I'm not trying to do the same thing. I'm trying to chase what you ask, and then we go down another rabbit hole. I'm trying not to. I want to stay on one topic at a time. Okay.
Yeah. Let's stay on one topic.
Okay. So which one do you want? Do you want vestigial structures? Do you want carbon dating? Which one do you want?
Well, I just want to play devil's advocate for a minute and say that, like, how do you know Noah's Ark was? If you say evolution wasn't real, then how do you know? There's no evidence to There's evidence to regional floods. You don't found a big boat full of like different chambers that.
I can get to that, but we have left so many matzo balls out. I want to know which one of those things you want to wrap up first.
Vestigial structures.
Okay, so if evolution was true, now I believe, I don't know if you were in here, you've been in here long enough, you know this now. I agree with microevolution, right? So let me give you the definition of macro, what we would need to see, and I think you'll agree, but I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. If evolution was true, we would have to have genetic information gain. It's got to be genetic because you got to go generation to generation to generation, obviously. It's got to be.
What do you mean
Sure,
what do you mean by that? Like genetic information gain?
Sure, if I had evolution, what do you mean? I'm literally giving it to you. You're interrupting me.
Okay.
Right, so it has to be genetic, right? If I have a evolution that happens right now and I grow this new structure out of my arm right now, if I don't pass that on to my children because it's not genetic, then it doesn't do anything, right? It's not evolution. It just dies out. So it has to be genetic because you got to be able to pass it to you.
Everything is based on your genes. Everything is computer.
You already know that time of day.
There it is. Let me hear it.
Hello. I hope everyone's having a jolly St. Patrick's Day. You better be wearing green and eating your tacos because it's also Taco Tuesday.
Thank you, man.
Then everyone, have a great day.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
All right, so genetic information gain. Let me get through it so then you can respond to it, okay? It has to be genetic, has to be new information as far as new function, new code, new structures, new DNA, and it has to be gained from something that it wasn't there before. And now what I think we would agree on, I think anybody would that believes in evolution, you would have to, if we went from a single-celled organism to a fully functional human, that there has to be genetic information gained there. Now, all I'm asking is, I need something that I can test and observe that shows that, not something that's inferred long ago and far away.
So you're inferring that if we don't know something, you have to solve it with God. That's the thing. That's the whole theory of the God of the guy.
I hadn't said anything about.
Citation for this definition. Mudfly, you're kind of jumping around here.
Thank you. Yeah.
I'm curious of where this definition of evolution is coming from.
Right.
The hosts.
Well, it just so whenever
evolution is purely just change over time.
Mudfly. I'm gonna Mudfly. Just listen for a little while, okay? But just listen, okay? I don't want to be disrespectful, but my man's right. We are jumping way too far, and literally nothing's getting said. Okay, so just listen up for a second. So the definition that I give is obviously because I do not agree with the definition that evolutionists give, because we try to win on a semantic argument of a definition. So, for example, the definition.
Changing the definition is semantics. Just to be clear,
that's what
semantics does.
Sure. So, but we're not here. Here's my thing.
I'm curious. Your definition of evolution is so far.
So let me get it out, and then you can respond to it. I don't get this.
That sounds
so
good.
Let me tell you what I'm not going to do real quickly, and people can get upset if they want to. I'm not going to have an argument over definitions because I'm not going to concede that elio-frequency change over time is the only definition of evolution. So therefore, I have to concede that we come from a dot of nothing 65 million years ago. Or 65 million billion, whatever y'all are up to. I'm not going to concede to that.
Given a definition, just go into your argument then.
So that's my definition of it has to be, if you're talking, I believe in micro.
Because you don't care about definitions, but so just go into your claim.
All right, man. Appreciate you. We didn't even go nowhere with that. For the love of everything holy, that wasted more time than Mudfly.
Okay, so we're talking about vestigial structures that, like, so tailbone.
Yeah, but that would.
So we know it may have retained some like uses, but it's reduced size and function. We can see in the embryo how in the first 4 to 8 weeks, we can see a tail being formed, and then we lose that over time.
You can't.
There's no use for that.
That's not. That's not what's. That's not what you see. You're using Haeckel's argument that used to be a monkey's tail. It went from fish to amphibian, reptile, and mammal.
In rare cases, how people who are being born, they have tail-like structures. There's certain abnormalities where
then that would.
Grown for, and we've kept that.
Maybe that's less than 1% of birth rates.
Exactly, because we've lost that.
That's still not a monkey's tail. Having an abnormality is not having a monkey's tail.
You can't just assume. You're making me so simple. It can't be a monkey's tail. What is it? Tell me.
It's a tail. It's our tailbone, not a monkey's tail.
It's evidence that we used to have fully functioning tails, except we lost it over time. But some abnormality showed that. And it's
all right, brother. I'm sorry. I tried. I've lost my patience with you.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. And I'm a mom.
I tried. Guys, I'm with the people on the panel is probably going to be it. If anybody else comes out, I do got somebody else requesting it right now. Hold on a second.
Can we go to bed now?
Yeah. After this, I'm gonna call it a night. So if anybody else comes up, I'm not trying to be disrespectful or rude or anything. I'm just going to finish out the conversations that I'm having with individuals here. And I really think I could reach him if he would just listen. But man, the guy cannot. Maybe he'll
calm down. Maybe he's still listening. If you will calm down, write it down and research it. We'll talk about it again. Nobody kicked you, but we kicked you because you were being rude.
It's just because you wasn't going nowhere. If you would just calm down and understand that you can't use evidence of losing something. First of all, it's not vestigial, but even if it was, you're losing information. That's not evolution. You can't go from a single-celled organism to a fully functional human by losing everything you got.
Yes. I swear to God, if somebody come in here hollering.
Jash, you got a lot of background noise, man. I muted you up. All right, Mr. I can't see your whole name. BEA Beat Saber.
Yeah.
What's up, brother? You doing all right?
How you doing today?
Man, I'm doing great. You got anything on the topic?
Yeah, I don't really understand how do you believe that evolution is false?
Okay, great question. Excuse me. I believe in microevolution. I do not believe in macroevolution.
Okay.
So I see micro everywhere, right? Changes within the same genetic kind, but I do not see macro.
Okay.
So
and that's really
hold on, Ryan.
Man,
hold on, Ryan.
We have.
Don't come in here and think you're just gonna walk all over my man who asked the question. He asked it. Let him respond to it. Go ahead, brother. I apologize.
So we're just gonna disprove the years and years of skeletons that we have found and fossils that we have found.
I got you.
I got one for you, baby. So do we still have apes today? We still have apes, right?
So we still have apes.
And we have humans, right?
Yes.
2 separate species.
So here's the thing, Mr. Here's fossils are nothing more than shapes and assumptions. They don't prove anything. You just line them up and you use shapes and assumptions. And even if you were to grant that these things look a lot alike, I could make an argument, and we have to be intellectually honest and think, you cannot use fossils as evidence for evolution, because I could make a claim that was the end of that animal's lineage. It did not have any children that survived. You would have to prove that animal had children and had children that survived. I could make a claim that was the end of this lineage.
Yes, because there was interbreeding. You know that, right?
Can you prove that those? Can you prove that those fossils have? Okay,
we have traits of like Neanderthals and stuff like that. We have these traits because of interbreeding.
We had.
And when we interbreed,
yeah, but Neanderthal is just human.
Existing.
Neanderthal is just human. It's not. It's just because we still have there are DNA. They're human. They're not apes. They're not half apes. They're not poor apes. They're just human. They're not anything. They're humans. They're not anything. They're not like part ape or anything. They're human. Neanderthals were human.
And when Neanderthals and Homo sapiens came in contact together, the Homo sapiens were usually the genetic superior ones. And either one of two things happened. They either wiped each other out through tribal fighting, which humans have been doing since the dawn of time, or they interbred, which is where you're getting that teeny tiny bit of Neanderthal DNA that you're talking about. So those are the two reasons why you have that, dear.
But regardless, they're still just humans. They're
still just humans, because if they were just apes, we wouldn't have apes today. We don't have dinosaurs today, right?
Hello.
Because they're not here anymore.
Because our atmosphere couldn't support them. Are you doing a live or and they got wiped out?
I'm doing a
live.
live.
I'm going to ask you, honey, for time's sake and for my sanity's sake,
Okay.
do we have dinosaurs today? And the answer is no. So they didn't evolve into something else.
I'm trying to wrap it up. Yeah, I'm trying.
So apes are still here. Humans are still here. They're two separate species.
I thought dinosaurs went extinct.
All right.
Dinosaurs went extinct because of world events.
They ended.
Yeah, so we as a creationist, obviously we think that they died in the flood. But anyway, you see, you'd have to prove that the fossils had children. So, and then again, what you're doing with fossils is you're lining them up by shapes. And then, like I said, with Neanderthal, that's nothing more than just a human, and we have their DNA because they were humans.
I don't understand. What do you mean we had dinosaurs and now we don't? Yes, we don't have dinosaurs because the world changed and they got wiped out.
Right, so the world changed and we still have humans and we still have apes, correct?
Yeah, but
because of evolution.
It's not.
There's apes that
All right.
now.
All right, hold on. I'm trying to move the conversation forward because I don't have a whole lot of time left. But so, do you have any example of information gained that you could possibly give me to show me that evolution is true and not just assuming that it happened long ago and
because
far
we
away?
have traits, wisdom teeth, appendix, tailbone. We have all this stuff.
Did you?
That we can trace back.
Did you just? No, you can't. Stop. Hey, were you in here long enough to hear the vestigial organ argument? I don't want to have that again.
They don't believe that.
Yeah,
You gotta say something else.
vestigial organs is losing information that could not possibly be evidence for evolution. We're losing it. I don't know why, and this is so ingrained in people that they use this. This is, y'all guys heard me in the comments that come up here regularly. This is all they have is evidence of loss of information to claim that long ago and far away we gained it. You're literally using loss of information. Teacher, how did we get here? Well, we all started off as a single-celled organism, and then we lost everything, and that's why we're here today. Thank you, teacher. That makes perfect sense. I need evidence of gain, not loss.
How would a single cell organism becoming a human be evidence for losing more?
That was clearly a rhetorical joke, man. Thanks for getting it. So,
but I'm still.
Yeah.
What are you saying though?
That's a joke. I mean, it would be a joke if you believe that degradation or loss of information is evident. Serial. If you believe that loss of information is evidence for evolution, then you would have to believe that we started. The math ain't mathing. You can't start off as a single-celled organism and then lose everything if that's all we test and observe, right? You would have to gain it, right?
What are we losing exactly? If a single
He just said wisdom teeth, tailbone. I've already went through all that. That's losing.
Aspects. That's not
All right.
single cell organism becomes a human. That's
I don't know which one of y'all
All right.
believe we had wings at one point. Because I
Yeah.
mean, wings is going to come up next.
All right, so
I'm gonna argue that we had wings.
Mr. B, do you have any evidence of gain? Because I asked that and then you immediately gave me evidence of loss.
Yes.
Okay, what
We're
we got?
smarter. We have gained intelligence.
Okay.
We back then we needed to be strong.
Is that a new function code DNA? Yeah. We got new DNA that makes us smarter. All right, brother.
We have lost traits.
Okay. We've lost traits. Yep, that's evidence of loss. All right, man. Listen, I appreciate you coming up.
Putting a pee-pee in the butt is evolution.
We'll have to try it again later, okay?
Boy, you better hush.
Yeah. All
I'm
right.
going to tell you what, William. When my husband was alive, I would have said that I was the softer parent. But in between me and you are way more patient than I am.
I'm starting to lose it now. Gigi Green.
Beat half these kids.
Guys,
I just jumped in because I heard one thing that was incorrect.
What you got?
Saying that there are no dinosaurs. We still have dinosaurs on Earth today.
Talking about chickens.
the alligator.
We talk about that another. I don't disagree there. The alligator, the
Guys.
turtle.
Yeah, but I think we know. I get what you're saying, Gigi. I do, and I understand what you're saying because they were alive at the same time. But I think it's just an overarching statement that I think we can agree with. That I mean, obviously, when we've said the dinosaurs aren't around, they're clearly talking about the dinosaurs, not like something that we see today. You know, like the Brachiosaurus or Diplodocus and all these. It's just it's not an exact word fallacy, right? So
No, but again, if we look at historians who check archaeological fossils and whatnot, we know that there's been several extinction events, and it would make sense that we also lost, what you were saying before about losing abilities. As we no longer need them, they start to shrink.
I know, but you would also, I would agree with that. Okay. I would contend that just right now, just so everybody knows that, yes, if you don't need something, you could possibly lose it. But you would agree also with me, right, Gigi, that if we went from a single-celled organism to a fully functional human, that there was gain there, right?
Absolutely.
Can you give me an example of that that's testable and observable and not inferred?
Opposable thumb.
That's inferred. You don't test and observe that at all. Can you give me an example of it that's not inferred?
Wait. That's a great statement because you want me to give you something that we can test and observe.
Yeah.
But yet you can't test and observe anything that's in the Bible.
Guys, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. You're welcome to come up if y'all want to, but the only reason I'm removing people is because I'm getting ready to end this. So I don't want to be rude to people, but that's why I'm removing you, is because I'm not having I'm ending it after this. So that's why I'm removing people. All right. So I don't mind answering your question about the Bible, but I'm not giving you
meaning a great flood, to assume that it was the entire earth.
Gigi, we can do the whataboutism later, but I ask you for gain. If you don't have it, that's fine. We can move on to another question. I just want to make sure that we end that there, so I'm not chasing rabbits. So if you don't have an example, that's fine. Then we can move on.
Well, there's no way to say whether the one-celled organism from 1 billion years ago turned into us today. There's just no way to.
So let me give you an example really quickly. I like bacteria because it takes the millions of years away. So it takes the pacifier or the god of the gaps from the evolutionists millions of years away. Bacteria can have up to 9 generations in a single day, and we're doing the longest running evolutionary experiment on bacteria, the Linsky experiment. Why is it that long ago and far away, there was clearly information gained in those bacteria, but in these today, for the last 80,000, 90,000 generations, all we see is degradation and loss of information?
Do we? What about viruses like coronavirus?
Yeah, it lost information. It started degrading over time.
I don't know if that's true.
That is true. It become the Magnacron or whatever they called it after that. Now, just it depends on it's losing information. That doesn't mean that it can't become deadlier. For example, it may not be able to fit in certain parts of your genome that causes problems or whatever. And then it loses information and becomes small enough to go inside. So then it may become more viral and more deadly, but that it still did it through a loss of information. It degraded over time. That's not a dispute.
Its information?
Well, if you want to say change by losing, then that's fine. Or if you want to say change through macro, I'll give you that. I believe in that things mutate, but it's still the same information. There's no new information. So
if you believe in mutation, well, then you're going back to evolution, because that's what we say evolution is, the mutation of an organism.
Well, you still have to have information gain. So you can't take something that exists and rearrange the codes to get the same thing and then call it new. That's not how it works.
I guess we're stuck at the chicken and the egg, huh?
No, it's not that. I have a reasonable. People believe that information gain happened. It had to, but it's just every time you ask for an example of it, all I get is degradation or microevolution. I never get information gain, and that's because it doesn't happen clearly. But people will fight tooth and nail to keep degradation.
I'll need to do a little more research on that aspect.
Sure, man. I appreciate that.
I will just say that, I looked at your, the flood was real and pre-tribalism is false. So I jumped on board.
I got
want
you.
to say good night to y'all.
Hey, well, Hey, Gigi, you were honest in that, and I appreciate that. So did you want me to answer another one of your questions now that we have rested that question? I don't want to be rude and not answer what you come up for.
Well, no, I came up because there was quite a lot of information about there being a flood, but the flood being localized to the Mediterranean, meaning there might have been, and this is why people of the book coming from the Levant would have thought there was a major flood. The Sumerians wrote about it before the Old Testament. So there was a flood event. We believe that. But I don't believe it was a global event.
Sure. So, but one of the reasons that we got more evidence that it could have been global is because, the Samaritans did write about it. And again, it's not, the Bible's not the oldest telling. I think it's the fourth oldest. I think the Sumerian is the second or third oldest. And there's even one even older than that, if I'm not mistaken. But regardless, we know that they didn't copy each other from different stories, because we know that people groups broke off and went on their own ways, and they still contain the same origin story of the flood before the Samaritans even wrote it down. Like, for example, the Hawaiians have their flood story of putting animals on a canoe and saving them from the worldwide flood. And obviously they were broke off into their own people groups before the Samaritans wrote it down. So this flood story is telling of a real event, in my opinion. Now, if you want the evidence of the worldwide flood, then I would go hydrologic sorting all over the planet. I would say that, these, anywhere you look, as long as you're not on bed ground, obviously, I can make a prediction right now that if you're on dry ground and not bedrock, that you could take a core sample of wherever you're at and you're going to see those layers, right? And those layers are evidence of hydrologic sorting, meaning that if you put water, clay, sand, and rocks in a jar, add water, shake it up, they're going to level out by density and whatnot, by currents and different things like this. That's what we see all over the planet. Now, they're going to tell you that these different layers are millions and millions and millions of years apart. Well, they can't be if you have polystratofossils that go in between them. And again, we know how these are formed. I can give you an example of how this happened in Spirit Lake, right? And we see these polystratofossils all over the world. So these layers can't be millions of years apart, because you've got a fossilized tree that go up and connect 15, 16 layers, right? So they're clearly not millions and millions of years apart. This clearly happened at one time. Then you have dinosaur bone beds, right? You have the Hells Creek Formation, which goes from the top of Texas all the way up into parts of Canada, if I'm not mistaken. So is it more logical to believe that these dinosaurs of the same body density type, very rarely found with any of their children, happened to fall in a mud hole, unalived, and then after a various states of decay, then got covered up in a flood and got buried in sediment rapidly? Or is it more logical to believe that they unalived in a flood, got sorted in the flood, because we know that floods do this. You can see this in the largest trash heap out in the Atlantic, I think it is today. It sorts things out by size and body density type. They got laid down in this massive bone bed, and then as the water rotted for a couple of months as they floated around, and then as they got set down and the waters receded, it washed sediment over them, which fossilized them, which is what you need. You have to have rapid sediment burial to even form a fossil. So is it more likely that they tripped and fell and got covered up in different floods over after they unalived and rotted? Or is it more likely that they unalived in a flood?
So the answer to that would be several different ways. Number one, tectonics, all right, would move your fossil beds to where you're seeing them. Number two would
it's still one fossil bed though, right?
Oh, yes, but it would have moved, meaning tectonics would have pushed it upwards or downwards, depending on which way the plates are moving.
But they're in the same. I understand what you're saying, but it's still, regardless of where it's at on Earth, it's still one bone bed. It's still one layer that they're in.
That's easy enough to talk about. I mean, especially when the dinosaurs were alive, the Earth was very swampy. It would take something like peat moss, which would then cover their body. You don't need to have necessarily sediment right away. You could have sediment carried by the wind over time. You could have sand, which is sandstone is mostly what they're in. So, yeah, I mean, it could happen with any number of ways. There are weather events, tsunamis, hurricanes, different events that could bring sediment and mud to cover the dinosaurs.
It's got to be It's got to be water, because when we see that the water is going to cause this the mineralization to push the mineral out, the bone out, and replace it with rock. That happens in water, and we understand that this is right. If it does it with wind, then you're not going to have a sediment cut off. You're still going to have an oxygen content, which is going to cause the microorganisms to still live, and they'll just eat the animal away, and it won't fossilize. So you need a sediment burial, and it needs to be rapid. And I can't think of a scenario that's outside of water unless you're going to say volcanic.
Happen in water.
Hold on, Serial, man. Come on, man. I'm no disrespect, man. I've had you up here. You've had your turn. Let my man go.
No, so you make a point, but the point isn't a valid point because we still have rain. So if you have sediment like sand, and then it rains, there's your water, and now you've got what you need to create a fossil over time.
That's true.
Remember, it's not the rain and the sand that's creating the fossil, it's pressure. So what we need is weight over time. So we cut off the oxygen supply, we have weight, and then we have a fossil. So it takes time, granted, and we need a lack of oxygen, granted. Both of those things, and that's why fossils aren't readily available. That's why they're not everywhere. You need to be in certain like deserts and places where we find, or frozen areas where we find fossils. They're not readily available wherever you dig.
Right, but
and that would be,
they just don't happen to have any of their children with them. It's almost like they were running from rising water.
They do. Oh, they do.
No, some of them, but it is an extremely rare event to find the dinosaurs with children, brother. This is why they don't even know if the Dracorex is part of the Pachycephalosaurus, because they never find them together. So they believe that the Dracorex is an adolescent Pachycephalosaurus, but they can't prove it because they're never found together.
They can't prove a lot of this. I think
that's my point.
Hypothesis.
Yeah.
100%.
Well, what about?
We're getting there slowly.
Well, what about soft tissue? You think that can last 65 million years? They're finding soft tissue in dinosaurs. That surely can't last 65 million years, right?
Well, they find that in Antarctica. In places where
I'm talking about dinosaurs. I'm talking about dinosaurs.
Woolly mammoth. They found a full woolly mammoth.
A mammoth isn't a dinosaur.
But I would agree with you that they unalived probably during the flood cataclysm. The mammoths were just frozen and not fossilized, obviously. So they're not fossils. But the dinosaurs are fossils, and we're still finding soft tissue in them.
I don't know about that.
Sure.
Which dinosaur did we find soft tissue? I just don't know about that.
Sure, I got you, man. It's not a problem.
If I may, gentlemen, because my son's called me twice now. Gigi, I followed you. You're super smart. I would love to debate with you, but wife first, mom second, scientist last. So I'm going to answer my son.
Gotcha.
Friend, love you all, and I will chat with you another time. Okay.
Thank you for coming up, Harlow. Appreciate you.
Bye bye.
Hi, I don't know if you remember me.
Hold on one second. So I got the dinosaur soft tissue is actually from a scientist called Mary Schweitzer. She's not a creationist. Now, most of the science that you're going to see done today in today's labs are from creationists because evolutionists just aren't doing it. Hello? I know. I'm trying. I'm helping people. Thank you. All right. All right. So here you can do this 60 minutes interview. This is Mary Schweitzer. I'm not going to show you the whole thing. I'll just show you the relevant part. Look at that burger. That's an awesome burger. Come on, get out. I get to watch the same thing I have to watch. Now, like I said, you could go watch the whole thing for yourself. I don't want to act like I'm hiding anything because I'm not, but I just don't have a whole lot of time left.
I'll check it out. It's interesting.
Yeah, you can do a word semantic there where it says like, but I mean your eyes aren't fooling you, man. That's clearly soft organic material right there, brother.
I see it. All right. Well, listen, I gotta sign off. But
well, listen, man. Right before you go, man. This is what I do this for, because anybody that I have good conversations, man, I do this because one, I want to strengthen the faith of the Christians to show them there's no reason not to believe in the Bible, and number two, I want to share the faith of Jesus with those who may not believe. So my next question for you, man, is: do you believe in Jesus?
I don't believe in anything, my friend. I apologize there.
Yeah, you don't got to be sorry for me, man.
Well, I've been searching for a long time, and everything I find leads me to the other direction.
All right. Well, keep following me, and I'm going to do everything I can to help change your mind. Okay, man?
Sounds good, man. Be well.
All right, man. Appreciate the conversation. Man, it's going to be real quick, guys, because I said I wasn't taking nobody else, and I got to get off here. I don't know. What did you say? How do I remember?
I was there in your last one. I was there like in a couple live streams ago, I think, a few days ago.
Okay.
Yeah, I was telling you like about like how genetics is founded off the Bible and Gregor Mendel, and I was telling you like about thermodynamics and stuff.
Okay. I have a lot of conversations, man. I'm not trying to be rude and say I don't remember you, but
yeah, that was like 2 days ago.
okay. So you have something else you wanted to bring up, or?
Well, yeah, a lot.
Okay.
I find it interesting that if you look in John 1, right, if you really think about it, that is literally the most profound, like, not only philosophical statement, but it's also a very scientific one, right? Because if you look in the Greek, that word for word isn't actually speaking, it's logos, which means purpose. And that was the term that people used because they were debating like what was the meaning of life back then. And they had all these debates, and what it basically was saying, like, hey, Gentiles, this is the end of the debate. Jesus is the meaning of everything. But it also says in the beginning was purpose, and the purpose was God, and God is Jesus Christ. That's really what it would have meant, right?
Yeah.
That is such a profound and scientific statement as well.
So I will. I'm sorry. I will be live again tomorrow about the same time from about a little bit, maybe 5:45 p.m. And then I'll go live again. I'm not trying to rush anybody, but I got to get off here.
Can I ask one question?
Alan, what's up, man? You doing all right? I know you've been in here.
Oh yeah, I'm doing okay.
Hey, man, did you hear?
I had a few thoughts, but I'll get with you tomorrow.
That sounds good. Did you hear Harlow say she was a new Christian?
Yes, I heard that.
I got her, man. I got her. Yep.
Man, God bless her.
Yep, I got her, man. I got her, 100%. She changed the other day.
I've been praying for her.
All right. Well, we got her, man. We got her.
Yeah.
All right.
Praise the Lord.
Thank you. All right, Serial. You said one more question, man. I got to roll. What you got?
Yes. Why would society and scientists? Why would they try to lie about evolution? Like, what is the gain from lying about evolution?
I don't think that it's this overarching thing where people are just lying. I think that they don't set up a realistic standard for them. I think the individuals that come up with it to begin with were clearly lying, like Darwin and stuff. Like he was an outright racist, right? Who was trying to get us. If you look at his original book, it was the origins of whatever it's called, but it's also of races, right? Yeah, and superior races. So he was also trying to prove that the white man was superior to the black man and the Indian man and all of these other things. So it wasn't just this animal thing. People have forgot that. So it has its origins in very, very bad things. Now, the problem is people took out some of the racism and some of this. And so they're just told that this is the way it happens. So I don't think that they're evil or that there's this great conspiracy theory. People believe that degradation is evolution. And I think that if you just have a standard, you will see that it cannot be. And then I think that they would come to Jesus. I really do.
I also think that if scientists research the history of science, not necessarily the laws of science, just the laws of science, but if they research the history of science and realize how much things are fraudulent and how much things is actually based off the Bible.
All right, guys.
They would see that it was true.
All right, I really got to go. I've been holding it off too long. I got to bounce. I love y'all. I'll see y'all tomorrow.
All right.
That's great. This thing's been live this whole time.